From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham. This compilation contains the first 5 episodes of my World War II series, The War, that we released in 2013 and 2014. This particular set of episodes examines the anti-war sentiment and the reasons behind it that made Americans so reluctant to enter the war and desirous of peace at any price. These are emotionally powerful and challenging pieces that can be difficult to listen to, but really give you an idea of the context in which Americans were responding to the events in Europe and in Asia. So here now is The War.
Tomorrow, the world will celebrate Armistice Day. 20 years have passed in which the rulers of nations have had time to digest the lesson of those 4 horrible years of heartache and strife. Now, here's my personal prayer, and I know it must be the prayer of millions and millions of other people all over the world. Please, God, let every day be Armistice Day. I hope that some of you, somewhere, have said Amen.
The war changed everything, the earth and the people on it. So proclaimed the 1949 radio series, The Adventures of Frank Race. And indeed, the war did change everything. This is your host, Adam Graham, welcoming you to The War. In this special podcast series, we'll examine World War II through the ears of radio, as we honor those who fought and died to save the world from the evils of fascism and Nazism. We'll begin this program with the 95th anniversary of Armistice Day, and follow it through the 70th anniversary of D-Day, and the 69th anniversary of VJ Day. The generation that fought World War II was first called the Greatest Generation by NBC News anchor Tom Brokaw. Yet in many ways, they were reluctant warriors. While it's popular in the U.S. to view the time before December 7th, 1941 as pre-war, the war had been raging for 2 years. What was the American reluctance? We'll examine it in this first mini-series, The Reluctant Warriors. As Lionel Barrymore expressed in our opening clip from the Maxwell House Good News program of November 10, 1938, Americans were weary of war. World War I had left 10 million people dead, including 100,000 Americans. War in the 20th century was fought on a more massive, bloodier scale than had ever been seen in human history. And that left America and much of the civilized world shell-shocked by the cruelties of modern warfare. America's historic position had been one of neutrality in European affairs. Washington, in his farewell address in 1796, urged America to avoid entangling alliance. It had been sound advice for an America that was isolated from European capitals. Yet the world had changed much from Washington's time, when it took months rather than hours to travel to Europe. Still, the Americans clung to the hope that the World War would not affect them. With geographic and strategic advantages shielding America from the worst parts of the war. One of them was former President Herbert Hoover, who staunchly urged neutrality in this address from July the 6th of 1939.
And the dangers of our being dragged into war are in 3 directions. First, foreign propaganda to inflame our emotions and to mold our minds to war. Second, the preachments of our own mistaken officials and citizens, which in effect support these propagandas. Third, steps taken by our government that while denying that they are intended to take us into war, yet entangle us with these very controversies, the end of which may be war. And here we can examine one of the methods of power politics, and that is propaganda. During the World War, propaganda was first developed into a national weapon no less potent than the killing of men. When peoples and governments weigh the sacrifice of their sons, then truth and honesty and tolerance and justice are thrown to the winds if a lie will serve better. The Great War was the first time in history when all the powerful agencies of publicity and the manipulation of news were organized without moral restraint under the genius of skilled men. There were built up a skill and a technique in front of which every citizen was helpless to know the truth. And since that time, the radio has become an additional weapon. We ourselves, when we entered the war, imitated the others. We created great propaganda agencies. And no man dared to question our answer under that fierce organized condemnation. Now, propaganda has three directions. Internal, to mobilize emotions. External, to influence neutral nations. And aggressive, to influence the enemy. From the beginning of the World War, I saw the development of the propaganda directed at the United States from both sides. I was so impressed that I collected this material for years. The War Library at Stanford University holds stack after stack of this emanation from every government at war. And in the light of what we now know really happened, it comprises the greatest collection of part lies on the face of the earth. It ought to be studied. Now, there are certain types of propaganda in motion today which fertilize our soil for our entry into the war. We're told that we must join in war or democracy will disappear from the earth. That is a propaganda of the preparatory type. From the alliance of the democracies with several totalitarian states, that ideological issue seems a little confused. Now, my sympathies are with the democracies of Western Europe, but those democracies have resources to defend themselves. They comprise great empires of hundreds of millions of people with resources needed to secure their defense. Whether they preserve their democracies is a question of their own will. We're told that if they fall, we will be the next victim. I do not agree that they will fall, but if they do fall, the exhaustion of the dictators will be such that they'll leave us alone for a quarter of a century at least.
Still, beyond this practical concern was anxiety about war, and a feeling of its futility and the utter waste of human life that was seen to characterize it. This was expressed in many classic works of the era between the wars, including All Quiet on the Western Front by Eric Remarque. It became a bestseller and an Oscar-winning film. A scene from this movie was reenacted on the Chase and Sanborn Hour from October 17, 1937, featuring Clark Gable.
For us, he plays scenes from All Quiet on the Western Front, the picture which Universal made from Eric Remarque's famous book, acclaimed as one of the greatest chronicles of the World War.
All Quiet on the Western Front, with Clark Gable as Franz and Don Amici as Paul, two young German soldiers. The scene is a dugout in the front-line trenches on the Western Front. It is a summer evening in 1918. The sound of muffled cannon on another sector drifts into the dugout where Franz and Paul are cooking a goose that Franz has stolen.
Isn't it cooked yet, Franz?
It takes a long time to roast a goose. Here, Paul, you baste it a while. Where's Carl?
I left the dugout a while ago. Poor kid, he's scared stiff. You know, it's kind of tough on these new recruits.
Listen to the old veteran. Well, I remember when we first came up to the front, we were scared to death, too.
When we first came up. Gosh, we were young then, Franz. Wonder what'll happen when we go back.
I don't know. When I think about it, when I hear the word peacetime, it goes to my head. If it really came, I think I would do some unimaginable thing. Something worth having lain here in the mud for.
4 years of shells and bombs. Men won't peel that off as easy as a sock. Why don't they make the end of it?
Hello?
Oh, hi, Carl. You're just in time.
Say, what are you doing with those cherry blossoms?
There was a tree in the orchard back there a ways. We have a big orchard with cherry trees at home. When they're in blossom from the hayloft, they look like one single sheet, so white. It's just the
You
time.
little fool. You might have been picked off by some sniper. Here, come on. Get your food.
Smells wonderful.
Goose. Say, it's done now, Franz.
Yeah, grab a piece. Hey, what's the matter?
It makes me think of home. My mother always cooked goose on my birthday.
Oh, but never one as good as this, Carl. Go on, get your mess plate.
Where did you get a goose? We've had nothing but turnips for so
Oh,
long.
I did a bit of foraging.
It's a gift with Franz, finding food. He was left in the middle of the ocean on a raft. He'd shoot a bear within half an hour and serve it up with mashed potatoes on a white cloth. Say, what's the matter, Carl?
What was that? Franz, what was it?
Oh, just a 12-incher. You'll soon learn the difference.
Sure.
They're closer.
Come on now, buck up, Carl. They're just beginning to wake up over there, but they haven't got our range yet.
Huh?
That gave you a fright. Well, it was only a nose gap. Landed in the bushes behind us.
Franz, I'm scared. I want to go home. I didn't know I was such a baby.
Every man's a baby when he first comes out here. 2 more days make a week, kid. And then you can say you've been under fire. Here we go again.
Oh, come on. You'll get used to it, Carl.
Yes, this may go on for hours. Here, come on. Come on now. Eat your goose.
I can't. I can't.
Now, take it easy, Carl. Take it easy.
I can't stand it. Leave me alone.
Carl.
Let me out of here.
Carl.
Let me out.
Grab him,
Carl! The young fool is climbing out of the place. Carl, what's the matter?
Is he hit?
All right, Carl, it's all right. We've got you now.
Easy, Paul. That's it. Where did he get you, Carl?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Here, let me look. Wet his face from your canteen, Paul.
All right.
Oh. The whole joint's gone.
I'll get a stretcher.
Oh, don't go away. Stay with me.
He's fainted.
Yes. He's numb now, but in an hour he'll be screaming with pain.
And days before he dies. Such a kid, Paul. Such a kid.
Oh, God. This is Carl Kendrick, 19 years old. And he doesn't want to die. Please don't let him die.
Buck up, Paul. Maybe he's better off than we are.
Franz, he's from my hometown. I'm going on leave next week. I'll have to see his mother. I'll have to tell her.
Why are you living, Paul, when Carl is dead?
I don't know.
Tell me. Did you see Carl die? Did you see him then? How did he die?
He was shot through the heart. He died instantly.
You lie. I know better. I've felt how terribly he died. I've heard his cries at night. Felt his anguish. Oh, tell me the truth. I want to know it. I must know it.
I was beside him. He died at once.
Oh, I know you want to comfort me. And I can't bear the uncertainty. Tell me how he died. No matter how terrible it was, it'll be far better than what I'm thinking.
Carl died immediately. He felt absolutely nothing. His face was quite calm.
Will you swear it? By everything that's sacred to you.
Sacred? What is sacred to me? Such things change pretty quickly with us out there.
But will you swear it? Are you willing never to come back yourself if it isn't true?
Yes. Yes, Carl died at once. May I never come back if he wasn't killed instantaneously. Sure picked a good shell hole. Boy, I'm up to mud.
You think he's glad you're alive after that retreat?
Yeah, counterattack's going over it.
How was it back home, Paul?
That was all right.
You saw Carl's mother?
Let's not talk about that. Franz,
What is it?
someone's coming. Got your gun?
No, I dropped it in the attack. I got my knife, though.
Maybe one of them.
Yeah, it is. He's coming in here. But I got him. Oh. Yeah, he won't do us any harm. Now. Is he dead? He must be. I stabbed him. Paul, I didn't want to kill him.
Oh, don't be foolish, Franz. We can't help it. That's what we're here for, to kill or be killed.
Paul, he isn't dead. He isn't dead. Here, get me a bandage, quick, in my kit. All right, get his coat open. Here, we'll fix you up, fella. Let me turn you over. No, don't look at me like that. I won't hurt you. I want to help you.
Here you are, Franz. The bandages.
Oh, if you could only understand me. It's all right. Comrade.
And to think if we'd only run 2 yards further to the left, we'd never have had to do it. Franz, give him some water. I can't stand.
My canteen's empty.
Well, use mine. Here. Well, there's a bullet hole right through it. Oh, we've got to get him some water. The firing's lit up some. I'll see what I can find.
Where are you going?
Well, there must be a canteen on some of the corpses. I'll be right back.
Paul, be careful. Why do you take so long dying? You're going to die anyway. No, I didn't mean it. You won't die. They're only little wounds. You'll get home long before we will. You're dead. Well, they can't do any more to you. Why should they send us out to fight each other?
Franz!
I'm here, Paul. Paul, get back in the shell hole, quick. Here, give me your hand. I've got you there.
After 4 years. To get it now, just the very last.
The last? Who knows how long this mess will go on? Here, let's have a look.
Oh.
It's not bad, Paul. Just below the knee. You're saved. We'll go home.
The bandages in my kit. Better use a piece of my picks. Franz, how far below the knee am I hit?
At least 4 inches.
You're lying. It's hardly an inch. Franz, if they take my leg off, I'll kill myself.
Shut up. I tell you it's nothing.
If I ever get through this mess, I wanted to be a forester.
You can still be a forester.
I won't go through life as a cripple. I'll kill myself.
You won't do that. You're not a coward, Paul. And you wouldn't leave me alone. All the boys we came out with are gone. Hans, Albert, and Wilhelm.
Nothing to look forward to but mud.
No. Here, cheer up, old man. Have a cigarette. We aren't dead yet. Hey, Paul, do you remember how we stole the goose and cooked it?
Well, you brought me out of the barrage when I was a young recruit and wounded for the first time. I cried then, Franz. It's almost 4 years ago.
4 years. There. That bandage will hold you for a while. Now, come on. I'm going to carry you in.
No. We'll make too good a target. Go on, Franz. I'll crawl in after you.
Don't be a fool. Come on now. Here. Up over the edge of the hole. Here we go.
Am I very heavy?
No. Light as a feather. Orderly. Get a stretcher.
What have you got?
Paul, he's wounded in the knee. I brought him in.
Here, let me help you lay him down. Easy. You might have saved yourself the trouble. He's dead.
Dead? It can't be. He's just been hit in the knee. He's fainted.
He's stone dead. Splinter must have got him in the head while you were carrying him.
Dead? Paul. 4 years of hell, and I'm still alive. Alone.
And Franz himself? He fell a month before the armistice, on a day so still that the army report confined itself to the single sentence: all quiet on the Western Front.
The general view of many in the post-war world was that the ultimate enemy was not tyranny, but any force that would lead to war. This view was well represented in the 1939 to 40 15-minute radio series Secret Agent K7 Returns. In this series, Secret Agent K7 supervises a rotating team of agents who seek to maintain the world's balance of power. To do this, they often violate civil liberties and support repressive regimes that do the same. The show's concerns seem to be maintaining peace at any cost. This episode from April 23rd, 1940 takes a different tack, as a secret agent sets out on a fact-finding mission in an aggressive, warmongering nation.
Secret Agent K7 returns.
America's #1 adventurer, K7, former United States secret agent who operated in 22 countries, on land, on sea, and in the air, brings you a story of today. And here is K7.
Again, I bring you a story that is different. Few people realize that in the world of today, secret agents often influence international diplomacy by supplying information. What movements are the aggressors planning? What are their colonial aspirations? The answers are important, but the answer to what lies in the people's hearts is more important. Knowing has meant the difference between war and peace. To illustrate a different type of work performed by secret agents, an imaginative story of world crises is now introduced by John Holbrook.
Thank you, K7. In this story, let us assume that recently the world waited with bated breath for a speech that all feared would mean war. In such an atmosphere, Special Agent M answered a call by radio telephone. He talked to a great diplomat. As he finished, he hung up the receiver.
That was a guarded conversation, M. Who was it?
The ambassador to a great nation.
Well, M, what's the matter?
Ivan, that brief conversation was more important than any call we've ever had. A statesman has called upon us for vital information. We've got to go into a country and find out how its people feel, what they think. World peace may hang on the accuracy of our report.
You mean we are not on the trail of any particular group of spies?
No, Ivan. The man we're after this time is the head of a great state. We've got to pierce his censorship, overcome the fear his secret police have put into the hearts of his subjects. We've got to find out what men and women are thinking, and we've got just 48 hours to accomplish that task. Start packing, Ivan. We fly tonight.
Agent M and Ivan crossed the border that night. The next morning found them mingling with a people whose thoughts, hopes, and fears were carefully guarded secrets. They were not a hostile people. Instead, they wanted to talk. They wanted news from the outside world. Agent M and Ivan separated once they were in the country. Their problem was to overcome fear. They interviewed many people, but 3 of them told the whole story.
You're an officer in the Army, sir. I hesitate to ask you this, but do you think there will be war? Do your people want war?
We ask that of each other. No one knows. I wish I could answer you frankly.
Surely no one can hear us.
The very walls of the ears. We're spied upon constantly. We don't dare speak our mind, in public or in our homes. You can't realize what that means.
No, I can't realize it.
We don't know what the world thinks. We have no newspapers except the controlled press. Would you believe that news is being smuggled into us?
What do you mean?
Many of us have relatives and friends in other countries. They read the world news and condense the stories into a few words. Some of this condensed news reaches us. And when it does, we meet in little groups, read it to each other. Then each man makes a copy of the stories and goes out to read the news to other groups. It is our way of getting information.
Well, certainly you don't enjoy living under such oppression.
Would you? We have always been a proud people. Now we are treated like criminals, spied upon from every quarter. Someday...
You were going to say...
Only that it will not always be the same. Now tell me of the outside world. What do your leaders think?
They want peace. They believe international problems can be settled by conference.
And they're right. They're right. If only my people could know that. Our government wouldn't dare lead us blindly into useless sacrifice. If war comes...
Now, what's the matter?
We're watched. If you should repeat what I have said, I would be seized, separated from my family. I must leave you, my friend. Goodbye. I hope your visit is a pleasant one. Hail our leader! Hail our
leader! You are mother. Are your sons in the army?
Yes, all of them. And I have 3. One is 19. He is with his regiment. One is 17. He is in military school. My youngest son is 10.
Surely a boy of 10.
Yes, Paul, too. He and other boys his age drill each afternoon. They wear uniforms. They carry wooden guns. You are a woman. You've been in other countries. Tell me, what is the world coming to? Are we mad, all of us?
Please. Some way will be found.
You can say that. But what hope have we? You don't understand. You can't. Each morning I watch little Paul start for school. He doesn't run and jump the way boys used to when I was his age. He marches. Marches. Do you understand what that means? He marches to school just as he will someday march away to war. I want my little boy to be a little boy, not a soldier.
Perhaps you exaggerate.
Oh, no. No, I know what's coming. I was 16 during the Great War. I remember. Why do we have to stand in line with a ration card now to buy food if war isn't coming? It was so in 1917. Look at this card. I can buy meat for my family once each week. I can have just so much butter, so much flour. What does it mean? I'll tell you. Our money goes for airplanes, for guns, to feed these soldiers whose tramp we hear even in our sleep.
Are you taxed heavily?
Almost half of the money my husband makes. Each year we have less money. Yet each month my husband has to work longer hours. He goes to work before dawn, comes home at night, eats his dinner, then puts on a uniform and goes to a party meeting. Is it like that in your country?
No, of course not. Our citizens don't wear uniforms. Only our soldiers and sailors.
Why can't it be like that here? Why doesn't some world leader speak?
Perhaps one will.
Yes, probably, but he will speak too late. I lost a brother during the World War. He fought for greater empire. For empire. Must I now lose a husband and 3 sons? Must I see my little Paul, my baby, marching, marching, marching? He's my baby. He's not a soldier. They can't have him, not yet. Someone has got to tell them. Someone has got to.
I work 10 hours a day. And at night I must drill for the party. I don't want to be a soldier. I just want my work, my family. Why can't it be like the old days?
Perhaps it will be again soon.
I've given up hope. I remember when I was a boy. We had a lovely flower garden. And in the evening, when my father came home from work, he would sit there with us and talk to us and smoke his pipe. Or perhaps we would go to the music garden and hear women and men laughing and sing.
Surely men and women laugh and sing yet?
Yes, but suddenly the laughter stops. And we must sing about a man none of us remember. Some man who died in a riot. You can't understand. I'm sick of working for nothing. I'm sick of military music, of parades. I'm sick of the party. We're all sick of it. We want a different world. The party is wrong. I listen to speeches and say over again, lies, lies, lies. Why doesn't some man speak? Why doesn't he say, we want peace? Down with the party, down with their lies.
You will come with me.
Who are you? Not the police. No, I didn't mean what I said. I didn't mean it. Let me explain.
Why are you arresting this man?
Because he is a traitor to the state. Now, come on out.
Let me explain. I didn't mean what I said. What I didn't...
The next day, Agent M and Yvonne met again at the flying field and prepared to leave the country. Both looked haggard, worn.
What will happen, Em? What will it all lead to?
No man knows. Perhaps as a result of the information we're taking back, a voice will ring out across the world. Perhaps a proposal will be made that these people will hear. And if that happens, their leaders will turn pale. War will at least be put off. That's all that we can hope for.
Simmer in the mind of a people's leader, but if peace lies in a people's hearts, a successful war of aggression is impossible. History has taught this lesson many times, but when men are mad for power, the lessons of the past are forgotten. Pray for peace in the name of humanity. Listen for my next story. This is K7 speaking.
While people may have wanted peace, war was incoming. Indeed, it had come to Europe. Opposition to American involvement in the war remained strong, led by many artists and writers. In the next 4 episodes, we'll take a look at other anti-war works of this era, as well as a basis for them in reality. We'll cover that tomorrow. That will do it for today's episode of The War. Today's program featured Lionel Barrymore, Herbert Hoover and Clark Gable. If you would like to share your experience or that of a loved one during World War II, please email your stories to box13@greatdetectives.net. We'll consider all stories to be shared on the air. We also welcome your suggestion as to future programs. This program is dedicated to those who fought and died in World War II and is presented as a service of the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio, greatdetectives.net. The opening theme is The Heroic by Ken Curlin, kencurlin.com. Most of our shows will not be like yesterday, where we had a bunch of clips. We'll do that every now and again, where we have a big event or era to introduce, but usually we'll focus on a single show or series. There was a great deal of cynicism and caution behind America's desire for neutrality and its reluctance at entering the war. Perhaps the most famous and most reprinted example of this reluctance comes from the very first story featuring Superman, printed in Action Comics #1 and Action Comics #2. While Superman deals with several threats in his first adventure in issue 1, he sets out to stop a war from happening in this issue that was printed in June of 1938. It's told by writer Jerry Siegel, the war was merely an attempt by a sinister arms dealer to foment two nations into a conflict in order to make money by selling to both sides of the war. Superman solves the problem by first making the munitions manufacturer go to war, and second, by bringing the heads of the two nations together and challenging them to fight one another, at which point they realize they don't really want to go to war and that they were just being manipulated by the arms manufacturer, and thus the war was averted. The premise, at first glance, seems kind of crazy. Not just Superman's role in it, but the idea of a weapons manufacturer being the key to starting nations to war. Was this some mere flight of fancy by Superman's writers and creators? It wasn't just in Superman. There's certainly other stories, but this is just the most prominent. Or was there some basis for it in fact or history? As it turns out, they had a reason for what they imagined. In the person of Basil Zaharoff. While he would not be very likely to be discussed during the war, after the war, CBS aired an episode of their summer replacement anthology called Intrigue, which showcased tales of espionage, manhunts, and high adventure. In this episode tells an incredible story. Its basics would probably be familiar to many people in the pre-war era. So let's go ahead and take a listen to Satan Was a Salesman from September 11th, 1946.
CBS presents Intrigue, tales of espionage, manhunt, and high adventure.
Good evening. This is Joseph Shellshocked, your guide tonight on this last of our summer excursions into the land of intrigue. The central figure of our drama is a man whose name was for more than half a century a touchstone of power and mystery in European affairs, Sir Basil Zaharoff, the greatest conspirator of them all. Whence he came, what was the source of his power, no man knew. Yet he led Europe's rulers into a maze of diplomatic skullduggery and international duplicity that ended in two great world wars. Come now, on this most strange and sinister journey into the land of intrigue.
Joseph Schildkraut stars as Sir Basil Zaharoff, the mystery man of Europe, as CBS brings you Satan Was a Salesman.
Like a tale out of the Arabian Nights, it begins, in the teeming, bazaar-lined streets of an Oriental city. Our hero moves among beggars, but he is tall and well-made, and his blonde hair stands out like a banner of revolt against the mean and swarthy aspect of his fellows. He walks with a firm and arrogant stride, a little red fez cocked at a rakish angle on his handsome head. And on this day, he is to be seen turning in at the gate of a fine mansion in Constantinople's international settlement.
August 4th, 1869, dear Antonidas. This will introduce Basil Zaharoff, an expert on Balkan diplomacy, and a young man of rare and unique attainments. It occurred to me that you might find him useful in some of your enterprises. If not, I think you'll at least find him amusing to talk to. Faithfully yours, C.R.F. So, you're an expert on Balkan diplomacy, eh, Basil?
Yes, Monsieur Antonidas.
How old are you?
18, sir.
Zaharoff? But you're Greek.
Yes, sir. Basileos Zacharias is my real name, sir.
All ready for the Russian invasion, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Isn't that rather a drastic precaution?
Well, sir, for instance, if I'm a Greek with a Russian name, people who don't like Greeks can say, well, he's not really a Greek. And people who don't like Russians can say, well, he's not really a Russian.
It's an ingenious idea.
Yes, I thought so too, sir. I have an important advantage which has cost me nothing, simply by changing my name.
You're priceless, Basil. Absolutely priceless.
You should know that every man has his price, Monsieur Antonidas.
Why I especially?
Well, you live in a very fine house here in Constantinople, Monsieur Antonidas.
What are you driving at?
Nothing, sir. I merely noticed what a fine house you live in, and yet you are merely the correspondent for a newspaper in Athens.
Why, you insolent.
Yes?
I should have you thrown out of here.
But you won't, Monsieur Antonidas. You won't. You know that I could sell my ideas about you to the Turkish secret police.
Yes. You're very clever, Basil. But I don't think you have anything to tell about me except your vague suspicions.
Who sent me to you, Monsieur Antonidas?
Well,
the British ex-consul. I ask myself, why are you and he such great friends? You obviously have nothing in common. Then I ask myself, why did he send me to you? In his eyes, I am a criminal, a petty thief, but a confidence man of the bazaar.
I don't think he's far wrong.
That is a mistake, sir. Crime is only a means to an end, Monsieur Antonidas. No intelligent man would make a career of it. But a man who knew his way around the underworld of Constantinople could be very useful indeed. To a spy, for instance.
What's your proposition, Basil?
Well, sir, I spend a good deal of my time around the waterfront where I pick up jobs as a tourist guide. Now, most of the ship captains know me. I do business with some of them on a commission basis. Now, if a man had something he wanted to send from Constantinople to Athens, for instance, and didn't want to risk sending it in the usual way...
Basil, I think you and I can do business.
Europe in the 1870s. Russia and Turkey, the two great remaining powers of feudalism, locked in a death struggle. And little Greece, bridged between Asia and Europe, caught between them in a precarious neutrality. In Athens, a new political figure has appeared upon the scene. His name is Antonidas, and his secretary is a young man named Basil Zaharoff. No longer does young Zaharoff sport a jaunty red fez. His clothes are made by an English tailor, and he's quite a young man about town. But he still visits the waterfront from time to time. And one evening in the year 1877, in a bar at Piraeus, the port of Athens...
Well, this is my last voyage, lad. They are retiring me.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Captain Lindstrom.
There's a little job I've been doing on the side. Not much money in it, but I thought I might throw it your way now that I'm going home to Sweden for good. But I suppose you'd be too busy with your politics to consider it.
What kind of a job is it?
Well, as you know, there are a number of sidelines to being a ship captain in this part of the world. Among other things, I have been acting as one of the agents for Nordenfeld, the Swedish munitions firm.
Oh, well, there ought to be good money in that.
In Russia or Turkey, perhaps. Greece has never been one of our big customers, and now that both the warring powers have guaranteed Greek neutrality.
How much does the job pay, Captain Lindstrom?
Only £5 sterling a week. But it's not difficult.
Yes.
All you have to do is drop around to the War Office in Athens once in a while and see if there's anything they want in the way of rifles. Once in a while they order a small cannon or a howitzer for parade.
£5 sterling will buy quite a lot of Greek money at the present rate of exchange.
That's what I was thinking. But, of course, if you're too busy with your political work for Antonides...
Not at all, Captain, not at all. As a matter of fact, I think guns and politics would make a splendid combination.
Yes, I remember meeting you now, Zerl. At Antonides' house, the night I became Minister of War.
Yes, Your Excellency. I was his agent in Constantinople for several years.
So you were responsible for that brilliant work?
Well, sir, I have no intentions of deprecating Antonides. As a matter of fact, sir, I have come with a message from Monsieur Antonides, a message of most urgent and confidential nature.
Yes? What is it?
Greek neutrality, sir, is on the point of being violated.
What's the source of Antonides' information?
I am.
You bring me a message from Antonides based on information furnished by you? That's marvelous.
Your Excellency, I have it from no less an authority than Mr. Nordenfeld, the head of the firm I represent, that guns purchased from Krupp with Russian money have been shipped into Bulgaria and are at this very moment being moved up to our northern frontier.
This is a disaster. How many guns are there?
Oh, I have a list of them right here, sir.
This is true. Greece is finished. We cannot hope to match a battery like this.
There's one way it might be accomplished, sir.
How? It will take weeks to get a shipment here.
There's a ship lying offshore outside the harbor at this moment awaiting my orders. It's carrying a cargo of guns and artillery that would more than match the new Bulgarian batteries.
Yes?
But, alas, the shipment, sir, is consigned to the Turkish army.
Did you say this ship is awaiting your orders?
That's correct.
Then order it into the harbor. As a Greek, it is your duty to let us have those guns.
Why, it might cost me my job.
How much does Nordenfeld pay you?
£5 sterling a week.
Is the price of your patriotism £5 sterling a week?
No, I was thinking of a somewhat larger sum.
And that is?
£1,000 sterling in cash.
Young man, you'll come to a bad end.
Yes, that may be, Your Excellency, that may be, but somehow or other, I must make a beginning.
How dare you use my name to extort money from the government?
Well, I had intended to split this money with you, Mr. Antonides, but since you feel this way about it...
Oh, you think you're very clever. £1,000 bribe, a few thousand commission, but you've killed the goose that laid your golden eggs, Zaharov. You're finished, you hear me? Finished.
Very good. That suits me very well, Mr. Antonides. I'm leaving Athens anyway. Goodbye. I'm taking a train for Sofia tonight.
Oh. Now, I suppose you're going to try to sell a bigger shipment of guns to Bulgaria by showing them the receipts from the Greek shipment.
I'd be a fool if I didn't.
Oh, it'll be another few thousand, but there it ends. When you're found out, your name will be poisoned in both countries. Then where will you go?
To Russia, sir, to Russia, to collect my bonus for having diverted that shipment from Turkey to Greece.
Oh, this is a dangerous game you're playing.
Greek neutrality is already in a delicate balance. A few maneuvers like this might be all it would take to plunge us into this war.
I'll let you politicians make the wars. I'll furnish the guns.
Oh, have you not one spark of patriotism?
Why, certainly, sir. I will always be willing to sell Greece as many guns as you can pay for.
Welcome to Stockholm. Congratulations on those magnificent sails to Greece and Bulgaria.
Thank you, sir.
Tell me, how did you manage it?
Oh, I've studied some of the principles of salesmanship, Mr. Nordenfeld.
Indeed, you must have. I don't mind telling you I consider you our most valuable salesman at the present time.
Thank you, sir.
I am even considering granting you a rise in salary, say, to £10 a week.
Oh, well, that is most generous of you, Mr. Nordenfeld.
And I'm giving you a chance to triple that if you succeed in the new mission I have in mind for you.
Yes, what is that, sir?
I am sending you to Paris on a job of a most confidential nature. Briefly, this is the problem.
Yes.
Some mysterious personage has been cornering Nordenfeld's stock through some rather unethical maneuvering on the bourse. I want to find out who that man is.
And when you find out?
I don't know what I shall do, but unless we put a stop to his operations, I shall wake up some morning and find myself with a new partner. This firm has always been in the Nordenfeld family, Monsieur Zaharoff. It would be a terrible blow to me and to Sweden should it fall into the hands of foreign speculators.
I'm sorry you take this narrow view of it, Mr. Nordenfeld.
Eh? What's that, Zaharoff?
The man who's been buying your stocks in Paris, your new partner, sir, is myself.
You? You're joking, of course.
No, Mr. Nordenfeld, not at all. I'm your new business partner. Congratulations.
I'm glad. Whom are you acting as agent for?
Basil Zaharoff.
That's ridiculous. How on earth could you manage to raise all that money?
Now, look, there's no reason we shouldn't know each other's secrets now that we are partners, Mr. Nordenfeld. The checks for the Bulgarian orders were made out in my name at the insistence of the Bulgarian minister, of course, sir, and deposited in my personal account in Paris.
You embezzled.
No. I borrowed it for a few days only, bought Nordenfeld stock, forced it up, and borrowed against the stock I hold to repay the loan. Sir, you will find my accounts with you accurate to the penny.
Of all the dishonest reprehensions...
Now, Mr. Nordenfeld, if we are to be partners, we had better be friends. If you show a cooperative spirit, you will have no cause to regret our association. Now then, to begin with, sir, our production must be greatly increased. Austria-Hungary is arming as fast as she can, and we must be able to supply her. As soon as we have completed the reorganization of our company, sir, I am leaving for Vienna to close our deal with the Austro-Hungarian government.
Not so fast, Zaharoff. You've made a very clever beginning, but selling to a great empire is not quite the same as selling to little Balkan countries. The great powers will buy only the newest contrivances, the most up-to-date weapons.
Quite, sir, quite. We will supply them.
I'm not so sure we can. There's a man in Vienna now, an American, named Hiram Maxim.
Maxim?
He has invented a new weapon which he calls a machine gun.
Machine gun.
A gun that will fire several hundred shots a minute. He holds a patent on the device, and my experts tell me it cannot be made without his patent.
Has he demonstrated this gun yet?
He will give a demonstration of it before the Emperor Franz Joseph next week.
Very good. I better leave for Vienna tonight.
It's quite hopeless. You can't hope to compete with Maxim.
Mr. Nordenfeld, we have a saying in the Levant. If you want to destroy a man, first make him your partner.
An astounding invention, Mr. Maxim.
Yes, this certainly beats anything Nordenfeld has shown us, Mr. Zaharoff.
Your Majesty, it fires rapidly, but you can't win a war with one gun.
How many of these can you deliver, Mr. Maxim?
Well, Your Majesty, I'd have to take some time.
Yes, precisely, Your Majesty, precisely. A weapon like this, sir, with hundreds of precision parts put together with the art of a jeweler. Mr. Maxim, how long did it take you to construct this one model?
Well, 3 years.
Yes, thank you. Just as I thought. You see, Your Majesty, brilliant as Mr. Maxim's invention is, it's thoroughly impractical, I'm afraid. To manufacture in sufficient quantities to equip a great army such as yours, Your Majesty, why, it simply couldn't be done.
Now, look here, Mr. Zaharoff.
There's something in what Mr. Zaharoff says, Father.
Yes, I never thought of that. It is a fascinating toy, Mr. Maxim, but I'm afraid that's all it ever will be. Good day.
Your Majesty.
Good day.
Your Majesty. Better luck next time, Maxim.
Next time? You realize that I invested my life savings in that demonstration today? I haven't even got the fare back to the States.
Oh, I'm sorry. If there's anything I can do, I'd be very happy to advance your small amount for the steamship fare. Second class?
Oh, I'll just bet you would. Now, I'm not taking any of your charity, see? I'm going to stay here and fight.
Supposing you succeed in getting an order for your machine guns, where will you get the capital to build a factory?
If I can show an order for 100 or more, any bank in Europe will finance me, and you know it.
Why be content with 100? If Austria orders 100, England will order 1,000, Germany will order 5,000, and France will order 10,000. The race will be on. But you haven't even a plant. It will be a year at least before you can get into production.
I'd rather not make too many of them anyway.
Good heavens, man, are you completely mad?
It would be madness to use a weapon like this on such a large scale. Casualties on both sides would be unthinkable.
It's the business of statesmen to worry about casualties. You and I merely furnish the guns. If they're stupid enough to kill each other off with them, it's none of our affair.
Sorry, I can't see it that way.
Look at it this way. With this invention, you can buy into every armament firm in Europe, Maxim. In a position like that, you could exercise influence over the governments. You could certainly control the production of arms.
But I'm not an international financier. I'm only an inventor, an engineer.
I could make you the most powerful man in Europe overnight.
No, that's a crazy way to talk.
It would be easy. Come now, Maxim. Listen, as competitors, we only do each other harm. Why not be partners?
Oh, what's in it for me?
Oh, a full partnership in Nordenfeld.
But I thought you were just a salesman.
Yes, I am. And that's why I can offer you with confidence a full partnership in Nordenfeld of Sweden. No strings attached, you understand. It will be Maxim and Nordenfeld tomorrow. Your name first. Well, Maxim, how about it?
All right, Zaharoff. Let's be partners.
If you want to destroy a man, first, make him your partner.
With the formation of the new armaments firm of Maxim and Nordenfeld, it was announced today Mr. Nordenfeld, the founder of the firm, would retire from active participation in the business. Mr. Nordenfeld's duties will be taken over by a newcomer, Mr. Basil Zaharoff.
The firm of Maxim and Nordenfeld today merged with the British armaments firm of Vickers Limited. It was announced that Mr. Maxim would retire from active participation in the business. Mr. Maxim's duties will be taken over by Mr. Basil Zaharoff.
Upon the merger of the firm of Armstrong and Brown with Vickers Limited, it was announced that Mr. Albert Vickers would retire from active participation in the business. Mr. Vickers' duties will be taken over by Mr. Basil Zaharoff.
Excuse me, mademoiselle, is this place taken?
Why, no, monsieur. Won't you join me?
Thank you. I thought perhaps you were waiting for your husband.
My husband never travels with me.
Oh, if I were in his place, mademoiselle, you would never travel alone.
You're very gallant, monsieur.
Zaharoff.
Not the fabulous Monsieur Zaharoff.
Am I that fabulous?
Oh, and mysterious, too, so the newspapers say.
Afraid in this case, madame, you are the mysterious one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am Maria Duquesa de Villafranca de los Caballeros.
Your Highness, I am deeply honored. It's a pity that I meet you while I'm yet a commoner.
Oh, you expect to receive a title?
Well, after all, madame, I can't marry you without some sort of title.
But, monsieur, you've only just met me.
Yes, I know. I'm very good at snap judgments. I've never made a mistake.
Never made a mistake?
No.
Why, you're not even human.
Some people insist that I actually am the incarnation of Satan.
Tell me, monsieur, is it true that you go around stirring up wars and creating troubles among the nations in order to sell guns to them?
What nonsense. I am merely a salesman, a simple salesman. Now take this trip, for instance. I'm on my way to Greece, my home, by the way. I have here with me the plans for a submarine. A boat, madame, that will sail under the water.
You intend to sell the submarines only to Greece or to all the nations?
I can't help myself. You see, Greece will buy 2 because I will tell them Turkey already has 1. Turkey will buy 4 because Greece has 2. Russia will buy 10 because Turkey has 4. And Germany will buy a whole fleet because of Russia. Britain will buy a bigger fleet because of Germany, and so it goes. Now, am I to blame for the stupidity of nations?
You know, there is something rather satanic about you. Those cold gray eyes. And that little pointed goatee.
Could I tempt you, Your Highness?
Perhaps. In the meantime, please remember that I am a married woman.
Yes, and I'm still a commoner.
25,000 guns. 240,000 machine guns. 4 million rifles. 258,000 high explosive shells. 3,190,135 British casualties. Such were the services of Basil Zaharoff to the British Empire in the First World War. And his reward?
Basil Zaharoff, for extraordinary services to the Empire in time of war, and for assistance in the preparation of our peacetime defenses, I dub thee Knight Grand Cross of the British Empire. Arise, Sir Basil.
And so the little street urchin of Constantinople became a great prince, and lived with the princess in blissful happiness in their castle on the River Oise. If death had not claimed the princess, they might have lived happily ever after, and there might have been no World War II. But before many years had passed, the goat-bearded gentleman with a satanic face once more appeared in the capitals of Europe, and the very sight of him struck terror to the hearts of well-meaning statesmen. Once more, the name of Basil Zaharoff began to make news.
March 15th, 1920. A new banking syndicate has been formed in Greece with Sir Basil Zaharoff as its director. As Sir Basil arrived in Athens, the Greek army was mobilizing for an offensive against Turkey.
Sir Basil Zaharoff, war maker extraordinary, has done it again. Following a Zaharoff financial agreement with the House of Mitsubishi, the Japanese army is concentrating troops in Korea in preparation for an onslaught on the Chinese province of Manchuria.
Sir Basil Zaharoff arrived in Rome today on the eve of Signor Mussolini's declaration of war against Ethiopia.
One of the notable Europeans venturing in Spanish Morocco this season is Sir Basil Zaharoff. General Francisco Franco, leader of the insurgent forces against the Spanish Republic, gave a banquet in his honor.
He had the stage set for his second great war. But he was not to live to see it through. In 1936, socialites arriving early for the season in Monte Carlo noticed a petulant old man in a wheelchair being trundled about the grounds of the Hotel de Paris. Only a few realized that he owned the casino in which they had come to gamble, and was the undisputed dictator of the soil upon which they trod. An ill-tempered old man, bundled up in an overcoat, a heavy steamer rug across his knees, shivering in the midsummer weather, wincing at the balmy breezes that wafted gently in from the warm Mediterranean across the Bay of Monaco.
Seems to me the winters are not so warm here as they used to be.
Yes, Sir Basil.
Look at those fools rushing up to the casino to lose their money. Why don't they save it and invest it? They should do that, shouldn't they, Henri?
Yes, Sir Basil.
But they don't even know that I own the casino. Yes, I fool them all, don't I, Henri?
Yes, Sir Basil.
You know, Henri, you're such a close-mouthed scoundrel, I'm going to tell you why I bought this ridiculous Principality of Monte Carlo. The papers said I bought it for a plaything. Idiots. Don't they realize I had to do something like this? Now I'm so old I can't get around anymore. Now those kings and queens and idiotic prime ministers have to come to me. And when they lose their fortunes at the gaming tables, I make their losses good for them, and they make my losses good for me. You see, Henri, when they get home again, they always get their war ministers to send me a nice, fat order. Your employer is a pretty foxy old gentleman, eh, Henri?
Yes, Sir Basil.
Yes, Sir Basil. Hey, did you send that letter I told you off to Balancourt?
Yes, Sir Basil.
Listen, I want to be placed in the tomb right beside the Duchess. You'll remember that?
Yes, Sir Basil.
And make sure the steam heating is in operation at all times. If I can't get warm in this accursed cold climate I'm forced to live in, at least I shall be warm in my tomb, eh, Henri?
Yes, Sir Basil.
It's getting shady here. Henri, wheel me over there in the sun by that rose bush. I was always fond of roses. I'm cold.
Yes, Sir Basil.
Yes, Sir Basil. Yes, Sir Basil. Yes, Sir Basil. Can't anyone anywhere say anything to me but yes, Sir Basil. Yes, Sir Basil.
It is a gray November day in the year 1936. The Chateau de Balancourt, near Pontoise in France. A long black car decked with funeral plumes moved slowly up the long, winding road. In the funeral car, in a severely plain ebony box, lie the mortal remains of the master of Balancourt, Sir Basil Zaharoff. Knight, Grand Cross of the British Empire. Knight Grand Cross of the Bath. Grand Cross of the Legion of Honor. Member of the Order of Franz Joseph. Recipient of the Kaiser Wilhelm Medal. Grandee of Spain. Greek Order of the Savior. Order of the Ottoman Empire. And Regent of Monte Carlo. At the door of the chapel on the estate grounds at Balancourt, the funeral car draws to a halt, and a company of liveried servants lift the ebony box and carry it to its final resting place. Thus, without ceremony and without fanfare, with no mourners save his secretarial staff and household servants, the man who dominated Europe through the crucial years of 2 centuries is laid away in his final resting place.
Well, that's done.
There's only one thing that still puzzles me.
What's that?
His wanting a steam-heated tomb. He won't need any heat where he's going.
This is Joseph Schildkraut, your guide tonight on our final journey into the land of intrigue. I hope you have enjoyed these summer excursions as much as I've enjoyed acting as your guide. I wish to thank Frank Graham, the narrator on tonight's show, also Tom Collins, Lou Merrill, Ann Stone, Jay Novello, Pat McGeehan, Alec Harper, George Neese, Norman Field, and James Matthews, who have been more or less regular members of our company. For the words of Robert Tallman and the music of Lud Gluskin, my thanks for a job well done. To Charles Vanda, a great bouquet for his production guidance. Good night, and goodbye for now.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. A very interesting episode. Listening to it, we definitely have the feeling that Zaharoff's critics, particularly the writer, may have been oversimplifying a lot of European politics in terms of putting the whole blame for both world wars on Zaharoff. But on the other hand, it's pretty clear from history that this was a shady, if not sinister, character who played many sides of wars and really didn't care if his business practices destabilized the world and created a situation where war was more likely. And I think that this character probably gave a lot of Americans pause. We heard Herbert Hoover in episode 1, and whatever you think of Hoover, he was very knowledgeable man, was very wary of America being manipulated into a war. And I think many Americans were just as cautious. It would require much convincing before they would commit their children to service in another world war. That's all for today. Well, we continue our first series of podcasts on America as a reluctant warrior in this war. As I've been listening to potential programs that I think were part of this cultural trend of the 1930s, I've heard some that were very explicitly anti-war and almost over the top. Certainly this is going to have a place in the podcast. But I think that if we're going to start talking about the stories and the dramas that helped to shape America's opinion of the last war and war in general, we should probably start out with one of the better stories. And so I think there would be none better than Ernest Hemingway's A Farewell to Arms. It was originally published as a novel in 1929 and really established Hemingway as a great American author. The film version was released in 1932, starring Gary Cooper and Helen Hayes, as well as Adolphe Menjou. The film made several very radical departures from the novel, but maintained a similar tone, though perhaps with a little bit of a different focus. This is a radio adaptation presented by the Lux Radio Theater. Lux Radio Theater began airing over CBS in 1934, and it would continue on the air until 1955, with all but its last season spent over CBS. The program in its early days adapted plays along with some motion pictures, but throughout the majority of its history and its heyday, it adapted recent Hollywood films to the radio. It was the first to do this, however there would be several others. And we're going to play many visits to the Lux Radio Theater in the course of the war. This just happens to be the first. This episode aired as an hour-long adaptation from April 5th of 1937. We do have a different lead than in the film, and we'll talk a little bit about that after the play. But here now is the Lux Radio Theater presentation of A Farewell to Arms.
Hollywood, California, Monday, April 5th. The Lux Radio Theater presents Clark Gable, Josephine Hutchinson, Adolphe Menjou, and Jacques Leroux in A Farewell to Arms. Lux presents Hollywood. Our players, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's renowned star, Clark Gable, and Josephine Hutchinson, Adolphe Menjou, and Jacques Leroux. Our guests, the eminent director of A Farewell to Arms and many other hit pictures, Frank Borsegi, and Courtney Riley Cooper, famous writer and criminologist. Our producer, Cecil B. DeMille. Our conductor, Louis Silvers. Before raising our curtain, we acknowledge with gratitude the award of the Women's National Radio Committee, who, as representatives of 15 million club women, have just named this program first on the air in the field of dramatics. And now, from our stage on Hollywood Boulevard, the makers of Lux Toilet Soap greet you and extend a cordial welcome to the Lux Radio Theater. Lovely Jean Parker tells you this. Try a Lux Toilet Soap beauty bath next time you have a date to keep. It protects daintiness, makes you feel sure of yourself. May we add just this to Miss Parker's statement. Yet Lux Toilet Soap itself costs so little that any girl can buy it. And now, our producer. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille. Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. 20 years ago tonight in Washington, a group of weary statesmen left the council chambers of the nation, knowing that when they returned, they must seal a declaration no longer avoidable. On the following day, April 6, 1917, word went round the world that the United States had entered the war. There were those who had not waited. Among them, 19-year-old Ernest Hemingway, who had joined the Italian army. He emerged at the struggle's end with 4 possessions. On his chest, 2 medals for valor. In his shoulder, a silver plate replacing what steel had carried away. In his mind, a story that cried out to be written. Basing the tale largely on what his war-weary eyes had seen, he labeled it A Farewell to Arms. The world accepted it as one of the most graphic, true, and tender accounts of the conflict. Lawrence Stallings adapted it for the stage, and it came to still greater glory on the screen. For many months, we've aspired to bring A Farewell to Arms to the audience of the Lux Radio Theater, but patiently waited until we could announce the stars whom we present tonight. Clark Gable as Lieutenant Henry, Josephine Hutchinson as Catherine Barclay, Adolphe Manjou as Rinaldi, the same role he played in the picture, and Jack LaRue as Father Romano, the part he created for both play and screen. In his story, I don't think it was Mr. Hemingway's intent, nor is it ours, to point a finger at how the war began, nor how it ended. After 20 years, we've forgotten a lot. Perhaps it's just as well. But tonight, at least, let us remember brave men and lost lovers as we dedicate this tale to those ordinary human beings caught in war's relentless circumstances. And now, the Lux Radio Theater presents Clark Gable, Josephine Hutchinson, Adolphe Manjou, and Jack LaRue in A Farewell to Arms. Military road in northern Italy. Not far from the battlefront, a pitted road twisting down toward a plain. 3 ambulances freighted with wounded growl unsteadily forward. Frederick Henry, in the uniform of an Italian lieutenant, his steel helmet half down over his face, dozes beside Bonelli, the driver of the last ambulance.
Accidente, you hungry gun. You steal the ground.
Get off my lap, you're drunk.
Tenente Frederico, wake up!
Buy me a dark one. I don't want blondes, I like brunettes.
Please, Tenente Frederico, wake up!
What's that? Oh, Bonelli. You ever leave the hospital yet?
No, Tenente, but you were sleeping and you talked.
Oh, did I? Well, what did I say?
What did you... You Americanos find pleasure no matter where you are. You have been dreaming about the girls again.
Oh, then I show good sense even in my sleep. What else is it to dream about? Think war all the time, Bonelli, and you'll blow out your brains.
Those the men in the back. Why do they not keep quiet?
Find out what he wants.
What is the matter with you back of that? I'm getting you to the hospital as fast as I can. I can't stop. Nothing here. The brakes won't hold.
Poor devil, he's dying. He's well off, but he doesn't know it.
See, Tenente.
Don't hang on to those brakes. Throw your engine wide open. If we crash, it won't make matters much worse.
What, Tenente?
Drive faster. We can get down there in no time. Then you can help a man meet death.
You have orders, Tenente.
Well, what'd you stop for?
We have run off the road, Tenente.
Get back there and see if you can help that fellow.
Si, Tenente.
Hey, you. You over there with the fence.
Si.
Which way's Gorizia?
Back 1 mile. Return to the left.
What's the matter with you? Sick?
Si.
Where's your regiment?
Up there where you come from. Into the line again.
In what way are you sick?
I hurt my leg, Tenente.
Oh, yeah?
Destroyed. It pained me to walk.
Yes, if you're walking toward the trenches. But if you were walking away from them, you could walk all right, couldn't you?
Please, Tenente. Be merciful. Take me back to the hospital. I can't go up there again. Oh, Mother Mary, I can't.
I don't blame you. It's tough luck, soldier, but there's nothing I can do for you.
I won't go. No, I won't. Not if they shoot me.
Keep away from the Tenente.
Oh, no, he's all right.
He's crazy. The Tenente can shoot him if he wants to.
But I don't want to. I know how he feels.
Tenente, please help me.
Well, there's only one way I can help you. Benelli, the man who was dying, how is he?
Dead.
He's lucky. All right, soldier, turn around.
Turn? Around? Si, Tenente.
Now.
Tenente, you club him on the skull with your revolver. Look, he's bleeding.
Sure, we can take him back this way. Get rid of your dead man, put this one in his place.
Tenente, that is why you hit it.
War's a rotten business, Benelli. Come on, put him in the back.
Get here. That Red Cross look good, see?
Yeah, just about perfect. Come on.
There will be pretty nurses here, Tenente.
Brunettes?
They are always brunettes.
Yeah, I'll believe that when I see them. Hey, orderly.
Yes, Lieutenant?
We have wounded out there.
But we are English, Lieutenant. I'll inform the Italian unit. It's in the other wing.
Thanks. Hey, Benelli. Look at that girl going down the hall. See her?
But she's not brunette.
Oh, she's darn pretty, though. What the devil is she crying about?
I go see about the men, Tenente.
Yeah, okay. Oh, nurse. Nurse.
What is it?
Hey, tell me something, will you? What's the matter with that girl going down the hall crying?
Well, if you must know, they're sending her back home.
Home? Well, people don't generally cry when they're sent home, do they? Would you cry?
If I were in her place. She was married just a few days ago, and they found out about it, and they discharged her.
Oh, that's different.
All war is different, isn't it? Things happen that never could happen except in war.
Right.
She's worked like a slave, day after day, giving every ounce of her strength. She won't go to hell for finding a few minutes of happiness. Why couldn't they let her stay for a while?
Regulations.
Precisely. She married him, so she has to leave him now. Go back to England and leave him here to die by himself. Without comfort, without...
Nurse? That's your home, please.
Yes, Miss Smith.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
That doesn't matter much when a girl's heart is breaking. Does it?
It matters to me. First of all, you're brunette. What's more important, though, you're real.
Nurse! I'm coming.
I'll see you again.
Will you?
Nurse? What is it, Miss Smith?
Hey, baby!
Rinaldi!
You old sabo. I am very happy to see you. Finally you turn up, eh?
Hey, listen, Rinaldi. Who is that nurse just turning into that ward?
You still recognize a beauty.
Who is she?
Miss Catherine Barkley. I like her myself. Did you bring me some good cases, baby?
She's a regular.
Were you under fire? I have worried about you.
Barkley? That sounds English.
7 operations today, baby, and one of them was beautiful. I took the heart out.
A nurse, but still human.
The heart lay in my hand. It was lovely. Soon, Rinaldi will be the best surgeon in all the corps, then in all the army, someday in all of Italy.
What's that?
The best surgeon in all Italy.
Well, why not in all the world?
Why not?
You haven't changed, have you?
Nothing changes in these days except the front-line trenches. You will like it here, baby.
I've started to like it already.
Miss Catherine Barkley.
She's gorgeous.
The English nurses are always gorgeous, but she is more beautiful than any of them. I am in love with her.
Oh, does she know it?
Not yet. Have you any money?
What?
Oh, a little, but it will be enough. Lend me 50 lire.
What for?
Well, I must make on Miss Barkley the impression of a man of sufficient wealth.
Now, wait a minute.
But I must convince her that the great Rinaldi, who will one day become the greatest surgeon in the world, is even greater than he really is. You are my good friend and financial protector.
Rinaldi, you're crazy.
Yes, but you lend me the lire.
Oh, Lord, what else can I do?
The last detail is perfect. Now we can eat and drink, and then I have an idea. Tonight at the mess.
I won't be at the mess.
But you will when I tell you. A special occasion. Song, wine, a beautiful girl. I will see that you...
Hey, it's an air raid.
They bomb us. Watch out for yourself. Keep my feet.
Steady, everyone, steady. Miss Barkley, where are you? They bomb us. Come in there, shoulder, sweat, get close. Miss Barkley. Oh, here you are. Come on. You've got to get out of here. But you've got to think of... Miss Barkley, where are you? Where are you?
Buonasera, Father Romano. You come to the mess hall tonight?
Yes, Rinaldi. Look at that soldier. That's so close. Yet he sings.
He has no idea how close he is to death because of his singing.
It is well you can laugh, Rinaldi.
Well, if we fail to laugh, poof, we go mad. Ah, here comes the baby.
Hello, Father Romano.
Oh, Federico, you're back safe. I am glad.
Yes, I'm not sorry.
Father Romano prayed for you while you were away, Federico. Every time you go up, he does the same.
Oh, I pray for you all.
And behold, here you are. Come, Federico. I promised you something this evening. They are outside.
Oh, suppose we stay in here. I'm tired. Father, are there any reports on who was killed by the bombs?
And the good father was with us.
No lives lost?
Not one.
Wounded?
A few.
Was one of them a nurse?
No, Federico.
So you see, baby, there is no need to be so sad. Besides, we are going outside.
All right. I'll see you later, Father.
I will be here, my son.
Federico, look. Over there by the door.
Miss Barkley.
And Miss Ferguson, Federico. They are waiting for us. Come.
Hey, Rinaldi, what's the idea?
Well, you gave me 50 lire. We have won the big time, eh? Good evening, Miss Barkley.
Good evening, Doctor. How are you, Lieutenant?
I'm glad to find you're safe.
And Federico, this is Miss Ferguson.
How do you do?
How do you do, Miss Ferguson?
That tenor is off on another excursion. Let us all go in the garden.
You're not fond of tenors, Dr. Rinaldi.
There are tenors and tenors. Like I say. Hey, where is Ferguson?
Well, I thought she came with us.
I see you two don't know Fergie.
You mean she stayed inside?
There are such things as orders.
The devil take orders. 3 of us cannot go wandering about here in the garden. Orders or no orders. Federico, you go find that nice Miss Ferguson.
What? She's your guest, not mine.
What?
But, Dr. Rinaldi, you did invite her.
Very well. I will get her, but I come back. She must not disappoint Federico.
So you're the one Ferguson mustn't disappoint.
That's how Rinaldi planned it.
You want it that way?
No.
Then I'm glad Fergie walked out.
And I'm glad you helped send Rinaldi after her.
Did I?
I'd like to think of it that way.
I'm afraid it's a fact. It wasn't very kind of me.
It was perfect.
Oh, I refuse to argue with you. It'd spoil everything. Oh, it's a wonderful night.
You helped to make it even more wonderful.
You know how to use words. And we do seem fated to meet one another, don't we?
Yes. Thank my lucky star. Oh, but Rinaldi will come back and bring Ferguson with him.
Suppose they don't find us.
Great. Babes lost in the woods.
Yes.
Babes who don't want to be found. See, that's an idea. We'll walk off into the darkness.
And hope we find light?
You ready to start?
Yes. I may be an idiot, but I'm ready. Don't you think we ought to get back now?
Why? No one will find us here.
You seem to have found this place without difficulty.
Well, I was guided. I've never been here before, honestly.
I want to believe you. I want to believe all the things you've been saying to me.
I meant every word.
Somehow, I'm not sure I know exactly what it is, but you're not like the others.
What do you mean?
Well, just having you near me. People who don't know war would call it foolish, I suppose. But war does make a difference.
It makes things happen faster.
You do understand.
There isn't time to delay when lives hang in the balance.
No time for delay. That's it. You're an American, aren't you?
Yes.
What are you doing in the Italian army?
Oh, it's not really the army. It's only the ambulance corps.
But why did you do it?
I don't know. Why did you?
I think to forget. But it hasn't worked out as I hoped it might. I don't seem to forget.
Can you tell me what?
I've never told anyone.
What is it you haven't been able to forget?
The man I was to marry.
Oh, well, where is he now?
Dead.
I'm sorry.
He was killed in the Somme. We grew up together.
And why didn't you marry?
I didn't know then what war was like. If I had it to do over again,
You would have married him.
Yes. When I joined up, I remember I had the silly idea that he might come to the hospital where I was, with a saber cut, I suppose, and a bandage on his head. Something picturesque.
This is the picturesque front, not France.
He didn't have a saber cut. They blew him to pieces. What are you thinking about?
You?
I'm glad, Frederick.
No one could be close to you like this without feeling the wonder of it.
Doesn't seem as if war was within 100 years of us.
It isn't.
It doesn't seem to be any yesterday. No tomorrow. Nothing but just this one moment.
And that's all that counts. Catherine.
Please, don't.
But I'd like to.
No, please.
But I want to kiss you. Thanks.
I didn't mean to slap you like that. I'm sorry. I just couldn't stand the nurse's evening off aspect of it. Did I hurt you?
I think you rather helped me.
I'm ashamed of myself.
But you are beautiful. And I'm mad about you. Tomorrow morning I go up to the front. If a shell got me and you never saw me again.
No. Don't say it.
Why not?
Because I love you, too.
Then?
I love you, Frederick.
While we are waiting for Clark Gable, Josephine Hutchinson, and Adolphe Manjou to go on with the next episode of A Farewell to Arms, let us take you with us for just a moment down Hollywood Boulevard a few blocks to Grauman's famous Chinese Theater. The line is forming already to see Lloyd's of London. Let's listen in on Dot, who planned to meet Margie before the show.
Gee, Margie, you must have been here ages to be so near the beginning of the line. Guess who I saw way back near the end?
I don't know. Who?
Evelyn with Jack.
No.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't that beat all?
Oh.
I mean, he kind of stopped seeing her, you know.
Yeah?
Well, Evelyn's got on a pink dress tonight, and she looks wonderful.
Listen, I'll tell you a secret about Evelyn. You know, ever since she got that job as an extra at RKO, she's been paying some attention to her complexion. They have Lux toilet soap in all those dressing rooms, and she took the hint.
Well, it certainly worked. Honest, your skin looks grand. Going great guns with Jack, too. Looked like a real romance.
A real romance. Any girl whose complexion is lovely can expect one. Here's where Lux toilet soap comes in. Its active lather thoroughly removes dust, dirt, stale cosmetics. Guards against unattractive cosmetic skin. Use gentle Lux toilet soap before each application of fresh makeup. Before going to bed at night. Remember, 9 out of 10 lovely screen stars use Lux toilet soap. And now, Mr. DeMille.
Back to our play, A Farewell to Arms, starring Clark Gable, Josephine Hutchinson, and Adolphe Manjou. It's early the following morning. In a corridor of the hospital, Rinaldi, dressed for the operating room, walks quickly toward an open door. As he's about to enter, Frederick bars his way.
Rinaldi. Baby, why do you return? I forgot something.
1 hour ago, I wished you Godspeed from my window, and here you are back again.
Where's Catherine?
Catherine, I see now. You were making progress while I was hunting for that stupid Ferguson.
Well, I drove off without saying a word to Catherine. I can't go that way. I don't want to. Where is she?
She's on duty.
I'll find her.
Such things are not permitted. Oh, come now, baby. You know that.
Well, I'm going up to the front, Rinaldi. I may come back and I may not. They may cart me into you so you can take my heart out, hold it in your hand, and tell someone how beautiful it was.
Do not talk like a fool.
Oh, we don't know what will happen. I'm going to... Oh, there she is. Catherine. Catherine.
Frederick, what's wrong?
Miss Barkley dropped the tray with the patient's breakfast on it. That is all that is wrong at the moment.
Catherine, you're all right, aren't you?
Well, yes, I'm all right.
Well, I came to... I thought that... Well, you see, I'm going to be away for a while, and I didn't want you to think that I'd just gone away.
No.
What I mean is that, I'd hate to have you think that it wasn't important to me about us. I don't exactly know how to say it.
You said it very nicely, dear. Thank you. Will you be gone long?
Only a few days. There's going to be an offensive up above the Piave. Nothing much, I guess.
An offensive? Oh, you'll be careful, won't you?
I won't get hit.
But you ought to have something to protect you. I'd like you to have something of mine. Here, take this, Frederick.
Your locket?
It's a St. Anthony. They say a St. Anthony will guard you from harm.
I'll take care of him for you.
Take care of yourself, Frederick.
Darling,
Not here. Goodbye, dear. I'll be waiting for you.
Goodbye.
Baby, you are a fool.
So long, Rinaldi. If my heart must be cut out, I hope you'll do it.
Get out, you wild devil.
Frederico. Stop worrying, Benelli.
But they lay down the barrage.
It isn't going to harm us any. I have St. Anthony with me. Her St. Anthony, Benelli. I won't get hit.
Please come into the dugout. You are driving me crazy. Please, for her sake.
All right. Go in yourself first. It is getting a little nasty.
Here, I dropped the tent flap. It closed out some of the sound. There.
Hey, we better eat something. There won't be much time once the attack starts.
Try this spaghetti, Tenente.
Thanks.
It does not taste so bad when you wash it down with some of the wine, eh? Drop that flap and come in, Piani.
Something to eat, eh?
Have they started to move up yet?
Si, Tenente.
Who's attacking?
Bersaglieri. Oh, what does it matter? Whoever goes, they never come back again.
Have some wine.
If no one would attack, the war would be over. But someone always attacks. It starts now.
Hey, that was a big one.
420.
Oh, you are a fool, Bonelli. And you never get anything right. It was 305.
Sounded like a Skoda to me.
Skoda? That's what I...
Hey, they're finding their range. That one was close.
I think we had better leave.
And when we leave? Go where?
Ah, there's nothing can harm us. St. Anthony. Benelli.
Tenente, are you safe?
Benelli, they got me. There's a joke to go this way. And I just said, I won't get hit.
Lieutenant Frederick Henry, lacerations of the scalp and possible fracture of the skull, multiple superficial wounds of the left and right thigh, left and right knee and right foot, profound wounds of right foot and knee, incurred in line of duty.
How do you feel, baby?
Who's that?
You do not know me? Look.
Oh, Rinaldi. What are you doing here?
The major let me come. No one shall hurt you, baby. No butcher is going to touch my war, brother. Only Rinaldi can take you and not hurt you. You must forgive me for talking so much, baby. I am very unhappy to see you wounded.
Did you take my heart out yet?
Not yet. Maybe soon. Nurse, you fix those instruments?
Yes, sir.
How did it happen, baby? I will see that you are decorated for bravery. Perhaps we can get you the bronze medal. Did you carry someone on your back? If you did, I will get you the silver one.
Oh, no, I didn't carry anyone. I couldn't move.
But there was something heroic. Tell me what you did.
Was blown up eating spaghetti.
Well, it does not matter. I will get you the silver one anyway. Nurse, the ether.
Shall I administer it?
Yes. Now.
Wait, Rinaldi. Where is Catherine?
Don't worry, baby. I will fix you so you will be as good as new. You will see. Every day I learn to do things smoother, quicker.
Catherine. I want Catherine.
Breathe deeply. You will soon be asleep.
No, I tell you, Rinaldi, I want Catherine. I won't be able to get well unless I have her. I tell you.
Do not try to sit up. Where do you think you will go from here? To the Italian hospital where they have male nurses with beards? Oh, no. I am your friend.
Rinaldi, tell me where Catherine is.
She has been transferred to Milano.
Well, then nothing matters to me.
But it must matter, baby. You are going to get well. I have arranged it. You too go to Milano.
Are you telling me the truth?
Yes.
Turn on your heater.
I will be left here all alone with the war. Breathe deep, baby. No one to lend me money. And you there in Milano.
Catherine.
More ether.
I'll be seeing you, darling.
All right. We are ready. The scalpel. Well, my boy, how are you?
Better, Father. It was good of you to come.
I heard they brought you in Milano. You like it here?
Well, it's a lot quieter. Sit down, Father.
Oh, I cannot stay long, my son. They warned me not to tire you out.
Oh, don't worry about me. Rinaldi said he'd pull me through, and he did. You seem tired yourself.
I am tired, but I have no right to be.
You have the war discussed.
Oh, no, my son, but I hate war.
I don't enjoy it.
You do not mind it. You do not see it. Oh, you must forgive me. I know you are wounded. Still, even wounded, you do not see it. I can tell.
Come in. Hello, Catherine.
Hello, darling. Good evening, Father.
Miss Catherine, you do not think I am tiring him?
Oh, no. He's strong. He's got such a lovely temperature. It's always normal. I'm awfully proud of his temperature, Father.
Yes, maybe all our children will have fine temperatures, too.
Our children will probably have beastly temperatures.
Oh, my daughter. My son.
Oh, don't mind us, Father. We're in love.
Oh, I know. I could see it in your faces, but you spoke of children. Without war, you would live married in the grace of God. Is it not so?
Why, yes.
And you, my dear?
Yes, Father.
Then you shall be married. Now.
Father.
Frederick. Listen.
Father. Father. Are you... Is that the marriage service? Of course you understand that Army regulations prevent us from marrying. They send Catherine home. Oh, but why shouldn't she go home? She'd be far better off. Poor cat.
Our marriage, Frederick.
It's a crazy marriage, darling.
It's real. And at least I'm in white.
No orange blossom?
I can smell them.
No organ music.
I can hear it plainly.
And do you, Federico, take Catherine for your lawfully wedded wife?
I do, Father.
And do you, Catherine, take Federico for your lawfully wedded husband?
I do.
Then I pronounce you man and wife. And from my heart I can say, bless you in his name.
Thank you, Father.
In times such as these, man-made rules are not as important as the laws of the Father. Let me look at you, Catherine.
I'm happy, Father.
I see that in your eyes. Goodbye. I will come again next time I am in Milano.
Give my regards to everyone, Father.
I will. Goodbye, my dear.
Goodbye, Father.
God have mercy on you.
Catherine.
Married. You and I. Married.
You love me?
I adore you.
I love you. So nothing else matters. There's nothing in the world can keep us apart now. Who the devil can that be? It can't be the Father. Get behind the door.
But if anyone found me...
No one's going to find you. Come in. Well, Ferguson, welcome.
You don't need to try any of your blandishments on me. Has Catherine been here?
I wish she would come here.
She's a fool when she's near you.
Now,
an absolute
Fergie.
featherbrain. The more she has to do with you, the less good will come of it.
Fergie.
And let me tell you one thing more. War or no war, let Catherine alone. If you don't, you'll have me to answer to. Now, I hope you sleep well with that on your mind.
Poor Fergie.
Oh, she'll live through it all right. You know, it's a lot of fun teasing her. Her nose does such weird tricks.
Oh, good night, dear.
Good night. No.
But I've got to go back to quarters.
Oh, just a little while, please. Come on, sit close to me.
Frederick.
Yes?
How many other girls have you loved?
None.
How many? Really?
None.
You're lying to me.
Of course.
It's all right. You just keep right on lying. That's what I want you to do. Were they very pretty?
No one in the whole world but you is pretty.
But what were they like?
I don't know anything about it.
And I don't care anything about it. You're just mine. That's true. Mine.
Darling.
And you never belonged to anyone else. But I don't care if you have. I'm not afraid of them. But don't tell me about them. Ever.
You wish something, Signora?
A ticket to Switzerland, please.
But to where, Signora? What town?
The nearest one to Italy.
That would be Brissago.
Then that's the ticket I want.
Catherine! Catherine Barclay!
Fergie. Oh, Fergie.
What on earth are you up to?
I hoped you might come.
Oh, you knew darn well I would after I found your letter. What do you mean by leaving instructions that no one was to tell that fool ambulance driver of yours that you'd run away?
Well, he's up at the front again, Fergie.
That's nothing new. He's been there for months.
I didn't want to worry.
Don't bother your head about that. War doesn't make men worry about anything but themselves. Do you mind telling me what it's all about?
I'm going away.
So I gathered, but where? Why?
I'm going to Switzerland so my baby can be born without guns all around him.
Catherine, your baby?
Our baby.
I said that no good would come of it.
But Fergie, he's my husband. And now war hasn't even cheated us out of a baby.
And you're going alone?
Oh, I'm not afraid. Bringing a baby into the world isn't anything. Well, millions of other women have had babies. But he mustn't know. Yet. I'll write to him from Switzerland. He won't tell him yet. Promise.
The train leaves, Signora.
You're running away?
But I'm running away to happiness, Fergie. The greatest happiness I've ever known. Goodbye, Fergie.
Catherine!
Goodbye.
We pause for station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This is KNX Los Angeles, the voice of Hollywood.
Clark Gable, Josephine Hutchinson, Adolphe Menjou, and Jacques Leroux pause in our presentation of A Farewell to Arms, and we hear now from the man who directed the notable screen version, Mr. Frank Borzage. Starting his theatrical career at 13 as a utility boy with a road company, he became a leading man in Hollywood prior to turning director 20 years ago. His succession of hit pictures began with humoresque and include Desire, Street Angel, Little Man, What Now?, the Academy Award winners Bad Girl and Seventh Heaven, and his current achievements, Green Light and History is Made at Night. Yachtsman, aviator, polo player, a friend to everyone. It's an honor to present one of Hollywood's greatest directors, Mr. Frank Borzage.
All of which finds me very grateful, C.B. and very embarrassed. Apparently you've never seen me sail a boat, fly a plane, or fall from a phony. But it does my heart good to be here listening to such a faithful and genuine production of a story that made my pet picture.
Well, thank you, Frank. Our problem tonight, as every week, is to convey by sound alone what you and I do on the screen with a camera. And since we're talking shop, you and your pictures have a unique quality of sending an audience out of a theater crying with emotion, while sometimes the rest of us send them out crying for their money back. You do something to our innards that we can't quite equal. Just what is it?
Now I'm on the spot. Well, let's put it this way. Some of us sell our stories by appealing to the sense of humor. Some by magnificent spectacles. Meaning you, Mr. DeMille. Others by sheer beauty and through clever psychological twists. I believe in trying to reach the heart. I think tenderness, simplicity, and little human touches are essential in making an audience live and believe what you have to tell them. That's what I strive for. Whether I succeed or not is another matter.
Like monuments, your pictures prove you do. Tell us, Frank, did Mr. Hemingway work with you on A Farewell to Arms?
No, but we were fortunate enough to obtain a technical advisor, a Lieutenant Charles B. Griffin, who knew him in Italy during the war. Lieutenant Griffin showed me a letter Hemingway had sent him shortly after he was wounded. The letter had been scrawled out from a stretcher and said, "Have 9 pieces of shrapnel in me. Not dangerous. Don't notify family. Everything molto bene." But with such stars you have here waiting tonight, it's time for me to get back to the audience. You've got a great show, CB, and a great product in Lux Toilet Soap. It's been a pleasure to be associated with both. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, and farewell. A Farewell to Arms continues, starring Clark Gable, Josephine Hutchinson, and Adolphe Menjou. Months have crawled by since Catherine entrained for Switzerland. Months during which she's written daily letters to Frederick, but has received no answer. We find the American in his quarters near the front. In the garish light of a kerosene lamp, he sits at a crude table, writing. Rinaldi paces back and forth impatiently.
Hurry, baby, hurry. It is time to go.
Go where?
What I told you before, the Villa Rosa. You will find things there to make you forget the war. New girls, all brunettes. Everybody is going.
Not me.
But, baby, you must. It will be a fine party. Besides, I said you would go.
I can't. I want to finish this letter.
To your frozen English girl in Milano who never answers? Every day, nothing but letters. You might as well be married.
That's my business.
Oh, baby, how you have come back to me. Serious, like a shopkeeper, and with a liver. Where is my war brother who used to be so gay with me and go to the Villa Rosa every night?
Oh, leave me alone, will you?
Why, is she not just a girl?
Keep her out of this.
So, a sacred subject. Believe me, baby, sacred subjects are not for soldiers. Be like me, all fire and smoke, but nothing inside.
I said I wasn't going.
Come on, baby.
I said to leave me alone. You even call me your friend. Why in heaven's name can't you let a friend alone when he asks you to? Now clear out.
So, I do not like that, baby.
Then let me alone.
I think that is a good idea. Next time you are wounded, I will take out your liver and put you in a good Italian liver and make you a man again. I will teach him a lesson. No woman can come between friends. Orderly.
Signore Capitano.
What is it that you have, the mail?
Si, signore, it just came.
Let me see. Tenente Frederick Henry from Switzerland. So, hand me the stamp.
Si, Capitano.
Return to sender, rejected by censor. Send it back.
Capitano.
Send back all letters for Tenente Henry from that address. Sacred subjects are forbidden.
Si, Capitano.
They give aid and comfort to the enemy. Stop staring at me. Send it back. Send it back.
Sit down, Father. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you, my boy. Oh, but you have changed so. You are not my Federico. Is there anything wrong?
No word, Father.
From Catherine?
Not a line. I've wrote every day to the hospital in Milan. She's never answered me.
Oh, that's very strange.
Something has happened to her. I know it.
Have you tried?
I've tried everything. I can't get any information at all. I've got to find her myself. I'm going to Milan.
Oh, but my son, leaves of absence are forbidden since the battle began.
I'm going anyway.
But that is desertion.
I don't care. I'm going.
But you will be caught. Oh, Federico, you must not do this.
What does war mean to me anymore? What does anything mean but finding her? You remember that night in the hospital?
I remember, my son.
You married us that night, Father.
But Federico, consider...
I consider her only. Something has happened to her. Something serious. She needs me. I'm going to Milan and no one can stop me.
Oh, may the kind Father protect you. When do you go?
Now. The others are at dinner. By morning, when they miss me, I'll be halfway to Milan.
And so, beloved, before very long, I will have wonderful news for you. God protect you and keep you. I do wish you would write. Come in. Oh, is there any mail, Rudolph?
Best soup. Good, warm soup. My wife made it for you.
That does smell good.
There is no better soup maker in Switzerland, though I myself say so.
Just put it here on the table. And bread.
She made that, too. The soup. It is right?
It's delicious.
There's more where it comes from. How long since you eat?
Oh, I haven't been hungry.
Because your stomach says so, or your purse. You have lost 20 pounds since you came to us.
Well, I lose weight in winter.
Ah, you do not lie well. Some things go badly, no?
It isn't always easy.
The heart can be so lonely.
Yes.
It is the way, Signora. My wife was the same way, singing with the happiness of a bird one moment.
That's it.
Black as a pit the next moment.
Yes, and pits can be so black. But I won't have to wait very much longer. A day, 2 days, perhaps 3. Then happiness.
Yes.
All the wonder of life for my very own. I'm a little bit frightened sometimes when I think of it.
Please, you eat the soup.
All alone, waiting for someone to come to me, wondering what he'll be like. A little afraid that...
the trouble is you do not know. You should be strong, and you are not as strong as a newborn baby. You who are to bring one into the world. Oh, pardon. It is your business, not mine.
Thanks.
An old fool can be a very great old fool when his tongue is not watched. Look, here are your letters.
Letters? You brought me letters?
Yes.
But why didn't you tell me?
See, a great package of them. They were tied in a bundle.
Well, let me have them, quick.
Now there's light in your eyes. At last his letters reach here. I told you they would come.
Oh.
Signora, what is wrong?
These are my letters.
What?
All mine. Returned to sender, rejected by censor. My letters. Nothing but mine. He hasn't received one.
We will send them again.
Suppose he sent them back.
No, he could not do that.
Well, Ferguson said war made men think of nothing but themselves.
You are making things up out of your mind because it is tired. War has a way of playing evil jokes, Signora. It is like a jealous person who takes from us...
Takes. That's what it's done. Taken. That's why he hasn't written. That's why my letters come back. There's no one to receive them. There's no one to write to me. He's gone. Gone. He's dead.
Signora. Oh, Martha, come up here. Signora has fallen.
Where have you been, baby? 2 days you disappear like a smoke. I look for you. Where is baby, I say? Where is he gone?
I went to Milan.
Oh, so?
She wasn't there. I asked everyone. They don't know where she is. Or if they do, they're not telling me. She was going to have a baby. Fergie told me that much.
A baby? Too bad. Well, tomorrow we move up front again. That will make you forget.
I'm not moving up front with you, Rinaldi. I'm through with war.
But you cannot just stop and say I am through with war. They will not let you do it. If they arrest you, no one can say...
I realize all that.
They will shoot you.
Get this through your head. I'm not going back. I'm going to find Catherine Barkley. She's going to have a baby. My baby. I'm going to find her. And nothing you can say will change that.
But suppose that she is no longer Anita.
What made you say that?
Only because...
You know where she is?
Yes, baby.
Where?
Switzerland, in Brissago.
How do you know that?
Believe me, baby, it is true.
Brissago? About 35 kilometers.
There will be sentries at the frontier.
I know.
And you will have to watch out for patrol boats.
I'll make it.
Here, you may need this money. Take it.
You're a good egg, Rinaldi.
No, I am a bad egg, baby. But I did not know you felt this way about her. You see, baby, I knew all the time where she was.
What?
I saw by the postmark on her letters, the ones I sent back to her.
You fool, Rinaldi. You poor blundering fool.
I am sorry, baby. I did not...
Shut up. I ought to strangle you. But I'll take your money because I need it.
I will be lonely without you, baby.
You?
You will write to me.
Oh, sure. Maybe my letters will come back, too.
Goodbye, Federico. Don't forget. He will never come back. Never. Curse all wars and women.
Who is it? Don't break down the door. This is Switzerland, not war. Well, what do you want?
Miss Catherine Barclay, where is she?
I don't know. She's gone. That's all I can tell you. She ran away when we wanted to help her.
But this is where she lived. Ferguson told me it's where she lived.
Who are you?
What business is it of yours?
So, the soldier who never took the time to write.
Where is she gone?
Letting her sit here alone, growing weaker and weaker.
Shut up. There's a hospital here.
8 squares to the left and then 3 to the right. She might be dead now.
No, she's not dead.
She may be. She may, for all you...
Well, what do you want?
Miss Barclay.
Do you realize you're dripping water all over the floor?
What difference does that make? Is Catherine Barclay here?
Yes, she is. Why?
I'm her husband. You don't have to look at me like that. I came here as quickly as I could after I found out where she was. How is she?
Dr. Peters will tell you. He's in with her now.
I'll wait until he comes out. But she is all right, isn't she?
We don't know yet.
But people don't die in childbirth nowadays.
Some do.
She won't die. She's just having a bad time. After it's all over, she'll say it wasn't bad at all.
Well, that's what we all hope for.
But what reason is there for her to die? It's just a child that has to be born and makes trouble and is born, and then you look after it and get to love it.
Nurse.
Oh, Doctor, this is the husband.
Is there any danger, Doctor?
She's very weak.
Weak?
Yes.
The baby?
A boy, but he was dead.
Oh. But she'll be all right.
It's not in my hands any longer.
Don't let her die. Oh, God, please don't let her die. I'll do anything for her if you don't let her die. You took the boy. That was all right. Oh, please, God, don't let her die.
You wish to go in?
Please.
All right. Through this door. Now be just as quiet as you can.
Try to move, darling.
I knew you were coming.
You'll be all right, Catherine. I know you'll be all right.
When my letters came back, I thought you were dead. I kept on thinking you were dead until last night. Then I knew you were coming. I kept calling to you.
It was all Rinaldi's fault. He didn't know. He took your letters and sent them back again. Every one of them.
So that was the reason.
Yes, I didn't receive one. It wasn't until 2 days ago he told me where you were. And all the time I'd been writing to Milan, and my letters had been coming back. Because you weren't there.
It's all very clear when you understand everything, isn't it?
Yes, dear.
You do love me, don't you?
You know I do.
You love me just as much as you did that evening back in the hospital when the good father married us.
There hasn't been a moment since then when I haven't loved you.
Frederick.
Yes, darling.
Stopped raining, hasn't it?
Yes, darling.
I hoped it would. Please open the window. But don't stay away from me very long. I want to share every minute there is with you. It's nice with the window open and the outside coming in.
Yes.
I liked it so much. Living, I mean. Oh, this is just a mean trick. It comes just at the time
Catherine. Oh, my darling. You can't leave me this way. You can't. Catherine.
Death is an angel with two faces. To us he turns a face of terror, blighting all things fair. The other burns with glory of the stars, and love is there. We have concluded a farewell to arms. But we have not said farewell to Clark Gable, Josephine Hutchinson, and Adolphe Manjou. They'll return to us in a moment. 19 years ago, the World War ended. But today in this country, we're engaged in another war. The war on crime. An underworld army of over 3.5 million thugs rolls up an annual crime cost of $15 billion. One of the leaders in the fight against the enemy within our gates is now our guest. Head G-Man Hoover calls him one of the greatest authorities on crime. He's also a writer of distinction and worked with me on The Plainsman. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Courtney Riley Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. DeMille. And here's an interesting angle to those figures you just mentioned. They mean a tax of $120 a year for every man, woman, and child in the United States. But that isn't the worst of it. I'm just trying to cheer you up, you know. Government figures show that unless a person dies young, 3/4 of our entire population, directly or indirectly, will be victims of major crimes, like burglary, or holdups, or manslaughter, arson, or murder.
You're quite a sunbeam, aren't you? Can't something be done to clean up this terrible mess?
Well, the most hopeful thing about the crime wave is its magnitude. Because at last people are beginning to awaken to what it really means, and its terrible cost in money, in lives, in property. And when the American people wake up to a situation, they usually do something about it.
Knowing the rackets as you do, Mr. Cooper, you must be a tough person to victimize.
You mean I'm public victim number one? I was robbed 3 times in the last year.
One more question. Who was America's most dangerous criminal? John Dillinger?
Not at all. It was a woman, Kate Barker. She reared 4 sons to be murderers, bank robbers, kidnappers, and herself died with a machine gun in her hand. Perhaps you remember the battle at Lake Weir, Florida, about a year or so ago. Ma Barker and her son Fred fought off 15 G-men and died with their boots on. But in doing so, they helped the war against crime, for it is things like this that arouse decent, law-abiding citizens to a true realization of what's going on. Thank you, Mr. DeMille, and goodbye.
Thank you, Miss Cooper. I'm sure we're all with you. At this point, our stars return to speak for themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, Clark Gable, Josephine Hutchinson, and Adolphe Manjou.
Thanks, Mr. DeMille, and thanks to you all who took part with us in tonight's play. There's just a word or two I'd like to say about Adolphe Manjou. The story of a farewell to arms is nothing new to him. During the war, Adolphe served in the Cornell unit of the United States Ambulance Corps. He was with the first contingent of American troops to land in Italy and really lived the story as Hemingway saw it. He served at Bassano, Montetombo, and Genoa, rose from private to captain, and took his detachment over the Alps for the drives in the Argonne and at San Miel. Did I get the facts straight, Adolphe?
Yes, this play brings back many memories. I well recall the hospital where Lieutenant Henry met Catherine. It's in a little town just outside of Genoa, and I was stationed there for several weeks. Now let's see what tonight's Catherine has to report. You look as if you had something on your mind, Josephine.
Oh, no. I was just standing here admiring Clark's lovely sideburns.
Well, I admit they require a little explanation. You see, I'm playing the part of Charles Stewart Parnell in the picture Parnell, and he lived when sideburns flourished. The studio prefers the homegrown variety, so there was nothing that I could do about it.
They certainly are beautiful, Clark. Beautiful. By the way, they tell me you're a handy man with the rope.
Yes, I understand they're calling you Buck Gable. You bring them back alive. Everything from calves to mountain lions.
Rope, mountain lions? What's this all about?
Oh, no. Really nothing at all, Josephine. You know, I just get a big kick out of trying to rope calves. You know, a regular drugstore cowboy. Most of the time, the calves win. And that business about getting a mountain lion is technically correct, but it was only a 60-pound youngster. I gave him to a trainer, and you may see him in the movies one of these days.
Well, if he's going to be a regular picture star, you'd better equate him right now with Lux toilet soap. But seriously, though, I know of nothing that's kinder to one's complexion than Lux soap. It's richly earned its right to be called the beauty soap of the stars. And I'm just as happy to pass that word along as I am to be here tonight. Many thanks, and goodbye.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you. Good night to all three of you. Good night.
Thank you, Clark Gable, Josephine Hutchinson, and Adolph Manjou. This is your announcer, ladies and gentlemen, Melville Ruick. Another banner evening in the Lux Radio Theater awaits you next Monday night, and Mr. DeMille tells us of it shortly. Our cast tonight included Doris Lloyd as Nurse Ferguson, Lionel Belmore as Rudolph, Martin Provenson as Dr. Peters, Lou Merrill as Bonelli, Justina Wayne as head nurse, Norman Ainsley as Piani, Frank Nelson as a railway clerk, Cornelia Osgood as the Italian nurse, and Ruth Easton as the Swiss nurse. Clark Gable appeared through courtesy of Metro Golden Mayer Studios and will be seen next with Myrna Loy in Parnell. Mr. Borzage, Walter Wanger Productions. Mr. DeMille, Paramount. And Louis Silvers, 20th Century Fox, where he's in charge of music for Wake Up and Live. As announced last week, today, April 5th, marks the beginning of a very important week to all housewives, National Retail Grocers Week. Be sure to go personally to your grocers during this week. You will be well repaid. Splendid values will be featured generally over a wide list of products you use regularly. Incidentally, you will find in the great majority of stores from coast to coast special values on Lux Flakes and Lux Toilet Soap. And now, back to Mr. DeMille.
Our production next Monday night is taken from the Sidney Howard adaptation of a story that met with phenomenal success as a novel, a play, and a motion picture, Dodsworth by Sinclair Lewis. And we're proud to announce that the title role will be filled by the same brilliant performer who created it on stage and screen, Walter Huston. With him from the original Broadway cast will be his wife, Nan Sunderland, Cartwright, and Fay Bainter as Fran. Our sponsors, the makers of Lux Toilet Soap, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday night when the Lux Radio Theater presents Walter Huston, Nan Sunderland, and Fay Bainter.
Welcome back. Well, in terms of the dramatic part of it, I have to comment that Clark Gable seemed better suited to the role than Gary Cooper, who played it in the film. Though I think that may be a little bit because Cooper's legacy developed as around movies like High Noon and Mr. Deeds Goes to Town. And this just isn't the type of film you'd think of as a Gary Cooper vehicle, though neither is The Fountainhead, and he played in that as well. The adaptation drives home the pain and suffering that occurred in the war, and as a direct result and consequence of that action, the very cynical eye towards military service and the military in general. Perhaps one of the most telling parts of this was at the beginning, where Cecil B. DeMille was delivering his opening introduction. And he talked about the fact that they weren't trying to assign blame for who did what or caused what in the course of the First World War. And that it had been 20 years and a lot had been forgotten, and perhaps that was all for the best. In this sort of offhanded way, I think DeMille illustrates the attitude of a lot of Americans towards the First World War and towards the brewing wars in Europe. It was something to be forgotten, something to be left behind. However, circumstances wouldn't allow Americans to forget for much longer. That will do it for today. will continue tomorrow with our next episode in the Reluctant Warriors series. Well, we continue with our mini-series, The Reluctant Warriors, and we turn to some episodes of the Columbia Workshop. The Columbia Workshop was a series that had its birth out of the Columbia Experimental Laboratory radio program, and really looking at different ways to do radio drama. Really, radio drama is kind of perhaps the newest field of all in drama, because you can trace a lot of the stuff that's done in movies and television back to the theater. But the imagination, this theater of the mind without any visual aids, was really new with radio. And so they experimented with a lot of different methods and did a lot of different things with radio, some that worked well, some that didn't. The series also tended to be a little bit more edgy or avant-garde in the choice of its programming, playing some things that were more controversial and unlikely to be heard on another anthology series. I think that's definitely the case with today's programs. I do want to say before we get into them that these are both very emotional stories, and really not intended for kids. Certainly I respect parental guidance and choice, but parental guidance really strongly suggested, and I would probably not recommend the second story for any kids under 13. I'll keep my comments to a minimum. Like I said, these are very emotional stories, and I could go quite a bit into my opinions on them, but I think for this point, the important thing is to get a grasp of what people were listening to and hearing on the radio in the 1930s. One thing that astounded me when I was doing some research on this is that more major anti-war dramas were made in the 1930s than the 1960s, which indicates the type of mark that World War I had left on America. One such play was Bury the Dead, which opened at the Ethel Barrymore Theater in New York to great critical acclaim. And we will go ahead and we will take a listen. The radio adaptation from May 28th, 1938.
Today, Germany protested sharply to the Czechoslovakian government regarding alleged frontier violations. This morning in Canton, China, Japanese bombers killed 600 and injured nearly 1,000 men, women, and children.
This afternoon, the British steamer Great End was bombed and sunk in Valencia Harbor.
Tonight, as millions of Americans prepare to celebrate Memorial Day, a day consecrated to the memory of our fallen heroes, the Columbia Workshop presents Bury the Dead.
Hey, Sergeant, they stink. Let's bury them in a hurry.
What do you think you smell like after you've been lying out dead in the hot sun for 2 days? The lily of the valley? Keep digging.
Hey, this is deep enough. What are we supposed to do, dig right down to hell and deliver them over first hand?
The man's entitled to 6 feet of dirt over his face. We gotta show respect for the dead. Keep digging.
They stink. Bury them.
That's a fine way to talk in the presence of death.
Ah, come on, let's put them away. What's the difference? They'll just be turned up anyway the next time the artillery wakes up.
All right. You're in such a hurry, put them in. Put them in neat there.
File them away alphabetically, boys. We may want to refer to them later.
Yeah, this one's just a kid.
bury him. He stinks.
Come on. Let's pile the dirt in on him.
Okay, boys. Shovel it in.
Hey, wait a minute. I heard a groan.
Shut up, soldier.
Stop it, I heard a groan.
What about it? Can you have a war without groans? Keep quiet.
Coming from down there in the grave. Hold it, somebody down there groaned.
Oh, my God.
He's alive.
Why the hell don't they get these things straight? Pull him out!
There. It came from there.
Another one.
I heard it.
Another one standing up in his grave.
All of them. All 6 of them standing up. Standing up in their grave. What do you want?
Don't bury us.
Hey, let's get out of here. Stay where you are. I'll shoot the first man who moves.
Don't bury us. We don't want to be buried.
Hurry on, men. Hurry on, I said. Captain! Captain! Where the hell is the captain? I'm getting
Don't go away.
Stay with us.
We want to hear the sound of men talking.
Don't be afraid of us. We're not really different from you. We're dead. That's all.
That's all.
Are you afraid of 6 dead men? You who've lived with the dead? There's so many dead. And eaten your bread by their side when there was no time to bury them. And you were hungry.
Are we different from you? An ounce of soul lead in our hearts and none in yours. A small difference between us. Tomorrow or the next day, the lead will be yours, too. Talk as our equal.
That's the kid.
Say something to us. Forget the grave as we would forget it.
I'm not drunk, Captain. No, not crazy either. They just got up all together and looked at us. Look. Look for yourself, Captain. You see?
I see. I was expecting it to happen someday. So many men each day. It's too bad it had to happen in my company. Gentlemen, at ease. I'm only telling the generals what I saw.
You're not making this up, Captain?
No, General.
Have you any proof, Captain?
The 4 men in the burial detail and the sergeant, sir.
In time of war, Captain, men see strange things. Ghosts, for instance.
They weren't ghosts. They were men killed 2 days, standing in their graves and looking at me.
Captain, you're becoming try.
I'm sorry, sir. It was a trying sight. I saw them. What are the generals going to do about it?
Don't stand there croaking. What are the generals going to do about it? Have them examined by a doctor. If they're alive, send them to a hospital. If they're dead, bury them. It's very simple. Well, Doctor?
Yes, sir.
In your report here, you say that each of these 6 men is dead.
Yes, sir.
And I don't see what all this fuss is about, Captain. They're dead. Bury them.
I'm afraid, sir, that can't be done. They're standing in their graves. They refuse to be buried.
Do we have to go into that again? We have the doctor's report. They're dead. Aren't they, Doctor?
Yes, sir.
Then they aren't standing in their graves refusing to be buried, are they?
Yes, sir. Doctor, would you know a dead man if you saw one? The symptoms are easily recognized, sir.
We have witness certificates from a registered surgeon that these men are dead. Bury them. And waste no more time on it. You hear me, Captain?
Yes, sir. I'm afraid, sir, that I must refuse to bury these men.
That's insubordination,
I'm
sir.
sorry, sir. It's not within the line of my military duties to bury men against their will. If the general will only think for a moment, he'll see that this is impossible.
The captain's right. It might get back to Congress. God only knows what they'd make of it. What are we going to do then? Captain, what do you suggest?
Stop the war.
Captain!
Hurry it up, Bart.
That's the story, Chief. Straight as a rifle barrel, so help me.
Listen, I've been running the newspaper longer than you've been shaving, and I never heard anything like it before.
Something new. Something's happening. Somebody's waking up.
It didn't happen.
Listen, I got it straight. Those guys just stood up in the grave and said, you can't bury us.
To help me, it's true. Get me McCready at the War Department. It's an awfully funny story.
It's the story of the year, the story of the century, the biggest story of all time. Men getting up with bullets in their hearts and refusing to be buried.
Who do they think they are? Hello, McCready. This is Henson of the New York. Yeah. Listen, McCready, I got this story about the 6 guys who refused to be... Yeah. Okay, McCready, if that's the way the government feels about it.
Well, what does he say?
No.
Holy... But people got a right to know.
In time of war, people have a right to know nothing.
Gentlemen, I have been asked by the generals to talk to you. To talk to you not as your former captain, but as a friend. To talk to you man to man. My work is not this soldiering. I'm a philosopher, a scientist. My uniform is a pair of eyeglasses, my usual weapons, test tubes, and books. At a time like this, perhaps we need philosophy, need science. First, I must say that your general has ordered you to lie down.
We used to have a general. No more. They sold us.
What do you mean, sold you?
Sold us for 25 yards of bloody mud.
A life for 4 yards of bloody mud.
We had to take that hill. General's orders. Your soldiers, you understand?
We understand now. The real estate operations of generals are always carried on at boom prices.
A life for 4 yards of bloody mud. Gold is cheaper, and rare jewels, pearls and rubies.
I fell in the first yard. I caught on the wire. Hung there while the machine gun stitched me through the middle.
I was there at the end and thought I had life in my hands for another day. But a shell came, and my life dripped into the mud.
Ask the general how he'd like to be dead at 20. 20, General! 20!
Other men are dead.
Too many.
Men must die for their country's sake. If not you, then others. This has always been. Men died for Pharaoh and Caesar and Rome 2,000 years ago and more, and went into the earth with their wounds. Why not you?
Men. Even the men who died for Pharaoh and Caesar and Rome must in the end, before all hope is gone, discover that a man can die happy and be contentedly buried only when he dies for himself, or for a cause that is his own, and not Pharaoh's, or Caesar's, or Rome's.
I see, General.
You got any suggestions, Captain?
Only one thing left to do now, General. Get their women.
What good will their women do?
The women will fight the general's battle for them in the best possible way through their emotions. It's the general's best bet.
Women, of course. Gad, you've got it there, Captain. Get out their women. Get them in a hurry. We'll have those boys underground in a jiffy. Women! By Gad, I never thought of it. Send out the call for women. Ladies, you are all Gold Star mothers, wives, and sweethearts. You want to win this war. I know it. Now here's your chance to do your part. A glorious part. You're fighting for your homes, your children, your sisters' lives, your country's honor. You are fighting for religion, for love, for all decent human life. Wars can be fought and won only when the dead are buried and forgotten. How can we forget the dead who refuse to be buried? We must forget them. There's no room in this world for dead men. They will lead only to the bitterest unhappiness for you, for them, for everybody. Go, ladies. Do your duty. Your country waits upon you.
Did it hurt much, John?
How's the kid, Beth?
Oh, he's fine. He talks now. He weighs 28 pounds. He'll be a big boy. Did it hurt much, John?
How's the farm? Is it going all right there?
It's going. The rye was heavy this year. Did it hurt much, John?
What color do you have?
Blonde. Like you. What are you going to do, John?
I would like to see the kids and the farm.
They say you're dead, John.
I'm dead, all right.
Then how is it?
I don't know. Maybe there's too many of us under the ground now. Maybe the earth can't stand it no more. You gotta change crops sometime. What are you doing here, Bess?
They asked me to get you to let yourself be buried.
What do you think?
You're dead, John.
Well,
What's the good?
I don't know. Only there's something in me, dead or no dead, that won't let me be buried.
You were a queer man, John. I never did understand what you were about. But what's the good?
Bess, I never talked so that I could get you to understand what I wanted before. Maybe now. There's a couple of things, Bess, that I ain't had enough of. Easy things. Things like the fuzz of green over a field in spring, where you planted wheat and it started to come out overnight. Things like taking a cold drink of water out of the well after you've boiled in the sun all afternoon and feeling the water go down and down into you, cooling you off all through from the inside out. Things like seeing a blonde kid, all busy and serious, playing with a dog on the shady side of a house. There ain't nothing like that down here in the grave, Bess.
Everything has its place, John. Dead men have theirs.
My place is on the earth, Bess. My business is with the top of the earth, not the underside. There was a trap that yanked me down. I'm not smart, Bess, and I'm easy trapped. But I can tell now. I got some stories to tell farmers before I'm through. I'm going to tell them.
We could bury you home, John, near the creek. It's cool there and quiet, and there's always a breeze in the trees.
Later, Bess, when I had my fill of looking, smelling, and talking. A man should be able to walk into his grave, not be dragged into it.
How I feel. And the kid. With you walking around like that.
I won't bother you. I won't even come near you.
Well, even so, just knowing...
I can't help it. This is something bigger than you, bigger than me. It's something I ain't had nothing to do with starting. Out of the earth like a weed, a flower. Pay for it.
You were a good husband, John. For the kid and me. Won't you let me marry you?
Go home, Beth. Go home.
Let me see your face, son.
You don't want to see it, Mom.
My baby's face. Once before you.
You don't want to see it, Mom, I know. Didn't they tell you what happened to me?
I asked the doctor. He said a piece of shell hit the side of your head, but even so...
Don't ask to see it, Mom.
Baby, listen to me. I'm your mother. Let them bury you. There's something peaceful and done about a grave.
I was only 20, Mom. I hadn't done anything. I hadn't seen anything. I never even had a girl. I spent 20 years practicing to be a man. And then they killed me. Oh, being a kid's no good, Mom. You try to get over it as soon as you can. You don't really live while you're a kid. You mark time, waiting. I waited, Mom. But then I got cheated. They made a speech and played a trumpet, dressed me in a uniform, and then they killed me.
Oh, baby. Baby, there's no peace this way. Please, let them bury you.
No, Mom.
Then, once Now, so as I can remember, let me see your face, my baby's face.
Mom, the shell hit close to me. You don't want to look at a man when a shell hits close to him.
Let me see your face, Jimmy.
All right, Mom. Look.
I'm Catherine Driscoll. I'm looking for my brother. He's dead. Are you my brother?
No.
I'm looking for my brother. My name is Catherine Driscoll.
No.
Are you my... I'm looking for my brother. My name is Catherine Driscoll. His name
I'm Tom Driscoll.
Oh, hello. I don't know you. After 15 years and...
What do you want, Catherine?
You don't know me either, do you?
No.
It's funny. I'm coming here to talk to a dead man. To try to get him to do something because once long ago he was my brother. They talked me into it. I don't know how to begin.
You'll be wasting your words, Catherine.
They should have asked someone nearer to you. Someone who loved you. Only they couldn't find anybody. I was the nearest, they said.
That's so. You were the nearest.
And I, 15 years away. Poor Tom. It couldn't have been a sweet life you led those 15 years.
It wasn't.
You were poor, too.
Sometimes I begged for meals. I wasn't lucky.
And yet you want to go back. Is there no more sense in the dead, Tom, than in the living?
Maybe not. Maybe there's no sense in either living or dying. But we can't believe that.
You're dead. Your fight's over.
The fight's never over. I got things to say to people now. To people who nurse big machines. The people who swing shovels and the people whose babies die with big bellies and rotten bones. I got things to say to the people who leave their lives behind them and pick up guns to fight in somebody else's wars. Important things, big things. Big enough to lift me out of the grave right back under the earth, into the middle of men, just because I got the voice to say to them, if God could lift Jesus...
Tom, have you lost religion, too?
I got a religion. I got a religion that wants to take heaven out of the clouds and plant it right here on the earth, where some of us can get a slice of it. It isn't as pretty as heaven. There aren't any streets of gold and there aren't any angels. And we'd have to worry about sewerage and railroad schedules in it. And we don't guarantee everybody'd be happy in it. But it'd be right here, stuck in the mud of this earth. And there wouldn't be any entrance requirements like dying to get into it. Dead or alive, I see that. And it won't let me rest. I was the first one to get up in this black grave of ours because that idea wouldn't let me rest. I pulled the others with me. That's my job, pulling the others. They only know what they want. I know how they can get it.
There's still the edge of arrogance on you.
I got heavens in my two hands to give to men. There's reason for arrogance.
I came to ask you to lie down and let them bury you. It seems foolish now, but...
It's foolish, Catherine. I didn't get up from the dead to go back to the dead. I'm going to the living now.
15 years. It's a good thing your mother isn't alive. How can you say goodbye to a dead brother, Tom?
Wish him an easy grave, Catherine.
A green and pleasant grave to you, Tom, when finally, green and pleasant.
Well, say something.
What do you want me to say, Martha?
Something, anything. Only talk. You give me the shivers standing there like that. Looking like that.
Even now, after this, there's nothing that we can talk to each other about.
Oh, don't talk like that. You talked like that enough when you were alive. It's not my fault that you're dead.
All right, Martha. What's the difference now?
Well, I just wanted to let you know. Now I suppose you're going to come back and sit around and ruin my life altogether.
No. I'm not going to come back.
Then what are you...
I couldn't explain it to you, Martha.
No. Oh, no, you couldn't explain it to your wife. But you could explain it to that dirty bunch of loafers down at that old garage of yours. And you could explain it to those bums in the saloon on F Street.
I guess I could. Things seemed to be clearer when I was talking to the boys while I worked over a job. And I managed to talk so people could get to understand what I meant down at the saloon on F Street. It was nice standing there on Saturday night, the beer in front of you, and a man or two that understood your own language next to you, talking, about Babe Ruth, or the New Orleans system that Ford was putting out, or the chances of us getting into the war.
Yes, you were happy those times, but you weren't happy in your own home. Oh, I know, even if you don't say it. Well, I wasn't happy either. Living in 3 rotten rooms that the sun didn't hit 5 times a year, watching the roaches make picnics on the walls. Happy.
I did my best.
$18.50 a week, you bet. $18.50. Condensed milk, a $2 pair of shoes once a year, $500 insurance, chopped meat. Oh, how I hate chopped meat. $18.50. Being afraid of everything, of the landlord, the gas company. Scared stiff all the time and getting nothing out of life. Why shouldn't I have had a baby? Who says I shouldn't have had a baby? $18.50? No baby.
I would have liked a kid.
Would you? You never said anything.
It's good to have a kid. Kid's somebody to talk to.
First, in the beginning, I thought we'd have a kid someday.
A kid would have helped.
Oh, no, it wouldn't. Kids don't help the poor. Nothing helps the poor. Oh, no, I'm too smart to have 6 dirty kids on $18.50. Now it's worse. You're $20 a month. You hire yourself out to be killed, and I get $20 a month. What's the war to me that I have to sit home alone at night with nobody to talk to? What's the war to you that you had to go off and get
That's
yourself...
That's why I'm standing up now, Martha.
Yeah, that's just like you. To wait until it's too late. There's plenty for live men to stand up for. All right, stand up. It's about time you talk back. It's about time all you poor, miserable 1850 guys stood up for themselves and their wives and the kids they can't have. Tell them all to stand up. Tell them! Tell them!
It didn't work. Now you've got to put it in. I knew it would work. Smear it over the headlines. It didn't work.
Put it in the headlines. They won't be buried.
It didn't work, extra. It didn't work. Hey,
it didn't work. They're still standing. Somebody do something.
Sure, they're standing. From now on, they'll always stand. You can't bury soldiers anymore.
They stink. Bury them.
What'll happen to our war? We can't let anything happen to our war.
The day of judgment is at hand.
File them away in alphabetical order.
Keep it quiet.
My husband, my brother, my baby.
We've got to put them down. Never, never, never. You can't put them down. Put one down and 10 will spring up like weeds in an old garden.
Use lead on them. Lead put them down once, then it'll do it again. Bury them. Bury the dead.
The dead have arisen. Now let the living rise, singing.
Do something. Do something.
Extra! They're still standing. Here you are. Do something.
Eldick, this isn't 1918. This is today.
See what happens tomorrow.
Anything can happen now. Anything.
Let me have a machine gun. Sergeant, machine gun. I'll show them. This is what they've needed.
All right. Get it over with. Hurry. But keep it quiet.
I want a crew to man this gun. Now you, come over here. And you know what to do. I'll get the command to fire.
Not to me, you won't. This is over me. I won't touch that gun. None of us will. We didn't hire out to be no butcher of dead men. Do your own chopping.
You'll be court-martialed. You'll be dead by tomorrow morning.
Be careful, General. I may take a notion to come up like these guys. That's the smartest thing I've seen in this whole war, and I like it. What do you say, buddy?
It's about time.
I'll say it is. What, you insubordinate...
Oh, stop it. It's bad enough as it is. Let him alone. Do it yourself.
All by myself?
Yes, go ahead. Do it. All right. As soon as I get this gun to working.
Never. Let me see your face, baby. Oh, you remember the glass of beer with a couple of bums on Saturday night.
A green and pleasant grave. Did it hurt much, John?
4 yards of bloody mud.
I fell in the first yard.
Never.
Tell them all to stand up. Tell them!
General, look. They're coming out of the grave. They're coming toward us. Think of us there! Fire, you bloody fool! It's no good. Stop them. Nothing will stop them. You kill them once. You can't kill them again. Think of us there! Keep on firing. Don't stop! Keep firing! The others, the living men, they're falling in behind them. Stop them! You can't stop them. That's right, General. Once they started, you can never stop them. Nothing can stop them now.
You have just heard the Columbia Workshop's production of the famous American war play, Bury the Dead, by Irwin Shaw. Bury the Dead was adapted for radio and directed by William N. Robeson. Next week, the Workshop will present an experiment in native rhythms in its production of Tonga Man Fine Ga, a radio play of British West Africa, written and directed by John Carlyle. In this production, native African drummers will present for the first time a demonstration of their talking drums, the most primitive form of wireless communication. Tonga Man, Fine Ga, which means strong man, fine girl, will be heard next week at this same time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. William March is one of many authors that gained critical acclaim and fame for the publication of a popular anti-war novel, Company K, in the 1930s. This short story is much along the same lines, but focused on a single moment of time. I get a warning that the contents of this play are very disturbing. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a listen to 9 Prisoners.
Columbia Workshop presents 9 Prisoners by William March, adapted for radio by Brian J. Burns.
My name's Julius Pelton. I don't mean a thing to you. It don't mean a thing to anybody else. And it means less to me. There was a time when I was proud of that name. Proud of a lot of things. My background, my character, my country. My country, I guess that was my greatest pride. But all that's changed. Now I'm proud of nothing. I'm interested in nothing because, you see, I'm a body. It probably sounds screwy to you, but that's what I am. A body. A thing without a soul. It wasn't always that way. I had a soul in those days when I had something to be proud of. It was my pride that lost me my soul. My pride of my country. That's why I enlisted and did my bit in the war. The war. I came out of it all in one piece. I was a lucky guy, that's what they said. But I lost more than an arm, a leg, a head, all my life. It don't make much difference where it happened. It was a long way from here on the edge of a wood. To our left was a gravel pit, long abandoned, with one narrow opening. Back of that, a ravine ran straight for 100 yards. Then it stopped blindly against a bank of clay. That's where I stopped, too. Where I stopped being the man I was. Where I lost all that makes the flesh more than so many pounds of beef. I just ordered my men to dig in. Our 1st battalion was to pass over our heads to continue the attack. In the gravel pit were 22 prisoners taken that day. We just about finished digging when the first men started to jump over us.
All right, fellows, they're steeping out. Here comes the 1st Battalion, Sarge. Well, get your heads down, or those guys will kick your brains off as they go. Watch it! Down, everybody! Boy, they seem to be all legs and arms jumping over our heads like that. Yeah, they're nimble, sure enough. But most of those legs and arms will be slung all over the countryside in a few minutes. How many of them guys you figure will come through? In a fight like this, there's only 1 out of every 3. Jeez, 1 in 3. 2 down for everyone up. Look at them go, like they're in a hurry to get it over. Funny when you think of it, isn't it? 2 out of 3. 1 over. 2 over. For keeps. Here comes the lucky step, the 3rd. 1, 2, lucky 3. Gee, it's like there was a big grave on the other side of this trench, and every 2 guys was jumping into it. Yeah. 1, 2, lucky 3. Wonder why they made us dig in here. Don't know, but thank your stars you're not going on with the 1st Battalion. We done our share. That's what you think. Don't worry, they'll fix up some sort of a mess for us. We'll detail the goddamn prisoners we got over there in the sand pit. Here comes the last of the battalion. That's good. My neck's getting stiff and being cramped down in this shallow trench. All right, men, you can relax now. Hey, Sarge, when do we eat? That belly of yours sure gives you a lot of trouble inhabiting it. Well, I'm hungry.
Sergeant Pelton.
Yes, Captain Matlock.
Have you counted noses yet? How many men have you lost?
4, sir.
That's not bad. Could be worse.
Yes, sir.
You've nearly 24 prisoners in the sandpit, haven't you?
Exactly 22, sir.
That's bad. You're taking too many prisoners, Sergeant. They're a problem.
Yes, sir, they sure are.
What do you think we're going to do with them?
I was wondering, sir. Some of them are pretty badly wounded.
I wasn't thinking about that much. Healthy or otherwise, they present a problem. Can't take them along with us, and we can't let them roam behind our lines.
No, sir.
Something has to be done.
Couldn't we send them back with a guard, sir? The wounded ones especially.
No, that's impossible. We'll be moving up pretty soon. We'll need all of our men.
Brophy and Carter will have to go back anyway, so they're pretty badly banged up. They could take...
No, Sergeant. It's a very simple solution to the whole thing.
Yes, sir?
The easiest thing would be to shoot them.
Shoot them, sir?
Yes. We could train a machine gun on the gravel pit. That's the simplest way.
That'd be simple enough, sir, and it would get them off your hands.
Yes, it would. I'm afraid the gap is too narrow. The sides are dug in. Pretty hard for our gunners. No, that won't do. Can't do it in the sand pit. You better take them up the ravine. Do the job there.
But, Captain, you don't mean that, do you, sir?
Don't mean it. What do you think I'm talking for?
But they're prisoners. Unarmed, helpless.
Well, what would you do with them? We're going to advance in a few hours.
Why, I don't know right now, sir.
Then mine is the only solution. Take the men up the ravine and...
Good God, sir, that's murder. Cold-blooded murder.
It's war, Sergeant. Seems to matter little which way men die. Fact is that they must die in war.
But not like that, sir. Why, I
Sergeant!
Yes, sir.
How long have you been in the service?
20 years, sir.
Long enough to know that you should obey orders without questioning.
Yes, sir.
Better take Corporal Foster and his squad. Use automatic rifles. I think Foster's the right man to do it.
Yes, sir. Foster's just the man for a job like that.
Then you better tell him right away. Have him finish the job before nightfall. Good luck to you. Do a clean job.
Yes, sir.
Matter, Sergeant? You look blue around the gills. Captain give you some bad news?
Yeah. Lord help me, I've been in the Army since I was a kid. I've seen plenty to turn a man's stomach. But this is raw. This is the rawest thing I ever heard of.
My name's Clarence Foster. I was Corporal Foster then. There's a big difference between Clarence Foster and Corporal Foster. In fact, I'm hardly able to hook one up with the other now. You see, I cut my teeth almost on war propaganda. I was told how glorious war was. They've played a dirty trick on guys like me. They led me to believe all the stuff they wrote. Now, they say just the opposite. The propaganda is for peace. So war is a terrible thing. The things that were so right then are so wrong now. It makes a guy feel that nothing at all is right. It ain't a pleasant thing to be turned from a hero to a beast just by the things that guards write down on paper. It's taken me all these years to understand just how Sergeant Pelton felt when he came to relay the captain's orders. I couldn't understand then. He was pale and trembling, acting like a human being and him a soldier. I didn't get the guy at all. He called me aside out of earshot of my squad. He looked so scared I wanted to laugh.
Good God, Foster, don't stand there like I'd only told you it was time for grub. Don't you realize what I said?
Sure, Sarge. You just told me the captain wants me to kill 22 unarmed prisoners.
And it means no more to you than any order? Like any other order?
Certainly not. They're the enemy, ain't they? The guys we're fighting.
We're not fighting the men in that sandpit. They're helpless. They can't do no harm anymore.
That's what you say, Sarge, but it ain't so. Don't you realize what they're up to? The enemy send a lot of men over to get themselves up. Then when they get enough men back of our lines, they start a drive and the prisoners attack us from the rear. It's an old trick, Sarge. I'm surprised you ain't heard about it before.
I've heard a lot of hooey in my time.
But this is straight goods, I tell you. I read all about their dirty tricks even before I came over.
Do you believe all the tripe you read?
You don't think they'd go to all the trouble of printing it if it wasn't true? Oh, say, Sarge, you're getting chicken-hearted. You gotta realize that in a war, anything you do to the enemy is all right.
You believe that, too?
Why, sure I believe it. Don't they burn down churches and dash the brains out of innocent babies? Oh, gee, now look. Don't you go getting yourself in an uproar about this. Just leave everything to me.
I sure will. The captain said you're just the man for the job.
Sure, he's got confidence in me. Why, Sarge, war's war. It ain't no tea party. Those fellas in the sandpit are dirty. You gotta treat them dirty.
We're doing that all right. This is the dirtiest thing I ever heard of. And I hope something will happen to stop it.
That's the way you feel about it? I guess you can't help it.
Well, the captain wants it done before dark. So you better get your men ready.
Okay, Sarge. We'll be ready, all right. Hey, you guys. Load your automatic rifles and make it snappy.
What's up, Corp?
We got a little job to do.
What do you mean, a little job?
We're taking the prisoners out of the sandpit.
Where to?
Up the ravine.
Yeah? What's the idea?
We're going to shoot them.
What? Shoot them? You can't shoot them? What for? What have they done?
There ain't nothing else we can do with them. We got to get rid of them.
Well, what kind of a gag is this, Foster? What are you giving us?
I'm giving you the captain's orders, and I don't want no arguments out of you guys.
The captain must have gone off his nut. He expects to go through with this. He's sure crazy.
No, he ain't. He knows what he's doing. People who don't understand that this is necessary may think the captain's wrong, but I understand. I think he's doing the right thing.
Well, I ain't gonna do it.
What?
I don't mind killing a man in a fight, but I ain't gonna shoot him down in cold blood.
You'll do as you're told.
Nobody's making a murderer out of me.
If you don't obey the captain's orders, you'll get court-martialed, and maybe we'll have to shoot you, too.
But the captain don't dare do a thing like this. He don't dare, tell you. He can't make us do it. Why don't you do it yourself, Foster? You could with one machine gun.
That's enough, Gab. Get your guns and start moving. Now, I ain't gonna fool with you guys anymore. Quiet. You go or you'll get court-martialed. Pipe down. Now, who wants to be the first to disobey orders? I'm waiting. Who's the first? Okay, then, let's get going.
My name is Qualls, Everett Qualls. They told me like they told the others that we were fighting a humanitarian war, a war to save the world, a war to end wars. But I know better now. There's no such thing as a humanitarian war. I know, too, that wars never end. Not for some, anyway. They go on and on. You can forget the war as a whole, sure. There's always some incident that sticks in your mind. You live and relive that incident over and over again until you know that there is no end. I was a private in Corporal Foster's squad. I was detailed to guard the prisoners in the sandpit. They were mostly young boys with fine fuzz on their weary faces. They looked sick and hungry. There was one among them, a little man, the clearest blue eyes I'd ever seen. He was much older than the others, and he seemed to be the leader. His name was Schmidt. I found out that he was a cabinet maker like myself, and we became good friends. We talked a lot about what he was going to do, and the war would be over. That time, we didn't know anything about Captain Matlock's order. In fact, we had forgotten all about the war for the time being. He told me some darn interesting things about cabinet making where he came from. We sat there in the side of the pit. Far off to our right, the heavy guns were coughing.
The minute I saw you, Qualls, I knew you were a builder of things, like myself.
How did you know, Smith?
Your hands, they still have the stain of your trade. See, mine have too.
Yeah, nothing can wear that off, I guess.
I never wanted to wear off. I'm proud of my trade. I'm proud of my hands. With these two hands, I once made a music cabinet for a prince.
Your hands are not like a tradesman's at all. They're long and thin, like a musician's or an artist.
Well, that's what we are, Qualls. Cabinet makers, they are artists.
I guess you're right there. Darn few people can ever make a box, much less a cabinet.
I learned my trade from my father, but he learned it from his father.
It's funny how a trade can bring people together. I don't feel that you're like a foreigner at all.
That's just it, Qualls. If we could only stop and realize that the man we fight is a man just like ourselves, then there would be no war.
You're all right, Schmidt. Have a cigarette?
Well, you want to give me one of your cigarettes?
Sure, go ahead, take it.
Oh, it's so long since I have a smoke. I bet it'd make me sick.
Here. Lie down.
That's so good. Oh, Qualls, please. You wouldn't mind if I passed a cigarette among my men. You see how they look at it.
No, go right ahead.
Hier, Jungens. Ja, also jeder nimmt nur einen Zug. Und dann gibst es zum nächsten. Thank you. Thank you. I thank you for all of my men. They cannot speak in your language.
That's all right, boys. They sure go at that cigarette like they'd eat it.
Most of them have not had a smoke in months.
Schmidt.
Yes, Victor. What is now?
I can't stand it much longer. The pain is too much.
Oh, it won't be long now, Victor. Soon they will take us out of here and you will go to a hospital.
You think so, Schmidt?
Yes, my friend.
Soon.
Now, you save your energy. Here, you have a smoke, too.
What's the matter with that youngster, Schmidt?
Oh, he was shot in the stomach. Only his youth keeps him alive.
How old is he?
16 years.
Oh, a child.
Comes from the same town as I. He thinks that I can help him. I wish I could.
He should be in a hospital. He looks so pale. You don't have much more blood left. You should make up their mind what they're going to do with you, man.
I'm afraid poor Victor will not be able to wait much longer.
Things must be pretty bad in your country when they send babies like that out to fight.
It means that the war will be over soon. There's no more men, and I will be glad to get back home. Oh, we used to have such good times before the war. After the day's work was done, we got together and we drink beer and we sing songs and... I wonder if we'll ever sing again.
Oh, sure. Soon as it's over, you'll forget all about it. Hey, what's up? What are they talking about, Schmidt?
Why, they're excited because they see a squad of your men coming through the woods. You see over there?
Oh, yeah, that's Foster's squad. He's my corporal.
You think that they're going to take us back to hand the lines now?
I reckon so. It's about time.
God. There, Victor. You see? They're coming to take you to the hospital.
Good. Maybe they'll fix me.
Gosh, I sure envy you, fellas. The war's over for you. No more fighting. No more sleeping in muddy trenches. No more smelling dead flesh.
Wallace Drury's my name. I just got out of military prison. I served 20 years. I thought I'd be able to start life all over again. I'm only 42 now, but there ain't no starting life again. I thought I'd forget in those 20 years, but I didn't. It was 20 years of thinking. Thinking of what had happened before I was court-martialed. They say I'm a little queer now. Stir-dippy, they call it. Nobody wants to have anything to do with me. Yeah, you say I'm a little queer. So is life.
I remember when he put a soldier's uniform on me. I thought I looked swell. I did, too. It was a great thing, that uniform. Fitted me like a glove. I was so anxious to prove myself worthy of it. They don't think I did. That's why they threw me in prison. But I know I proved myself worthy of myself. When Corporal Foster marched us into the gravel pit, I was thinking of the same things every other one of the men was. But I put my thoughts in action. We was lined up in front of those 22 frightened prisoners. There was 9 of us. The 9 was just as scared as the 22.
Rawls, you're dumb. How many more times do I have to explain this to you?
Well, I can't believe it, Foster. Such a thing has never been done. Well, I've been telling these men that they were going back behind to have their wounds taken care of.
Well, you didn't lie to them. Their wounds will be taken care of all right. Hey, Drury, what's the matter with you?
Pick up your gun, Walt. Ain't no use getting yourself in trouble.
What's the idea of throwing your rifle away?
I didn't get into this war to do things like this.
Well, if you thought it was going to be a child's game, you should have brought your dolls and dishes along with you. Now pick up that gun.
I ain't never going to touch that gun again. I ain't going to have nothing to do with it. Oh, calm down, Walt. You're getting the prisoners excited.
You got a date for a court-martial, Drury?
I don't care. I don't care what they do with me. I'm getting out of here.
Don't be a stamp, Walt.
You can do it if you want to, but I ain't even going to look at it. I'm getting out of here. I ain't going to have no part of it. I'm getting out of here.
Hey, Walt!
Walt, come back here.
Let him go. He won't get far. The military police will pick him up, then he'll get his.
He sure is scared. He's got more guts than a whole bunch of us. He's got nerve enough to do what we'd all like to do.
Well, quit the belly ache and then get those men out of the sand pit. We got to be at the ravine before dark.
Dark now, Foster.
Dark? You're nuts. The sun's still shining.
The sun's shining, all right. But it's the darkest day any of us will ever know. I'm Charles Gordon. I've been around the world a couple of times. I don't know what else to do with myself. But of all the traveling I've ever done, the longest trip of all was the track from the gravel pit to the ravine. The prisoners came out of the pit stolidly, looking neither to the right nor the left. The wood had been raked by artillery fire. They glanced apprehensively over their shoulders at us and began to mutter excitedly. Don't be afraid, men. We're all prisoners and we all must do as we are told.
Come on, down in the ravine there.
I don't like this here shit. All right, Aaron.
Here. Cut the gap. Get in there. You men, part them along.
Please, Corporal. They're frightened. Please be patient.
Can't wait here all night. You tell them in your own lingo to get into the ravine.
All right, Corporal. Adieu. Man hat keine Angst.
What's he telling, Jim? He's telling them that we wear different uniforms and we speak a different language, but we're made of the same flesh and blood. He's expressing his faith in men, and we're getting ready to kill them.
Now they go in.
All right. Thanks. Now get in yourself.
Yes. I will go, too.
Hey, Foster.
What do you want, Coles?
Do we have to go through with this thing?
Sure, unless the captain shows up with a change of heart in the next few minutes.
Well, if we have to do it, I want a favor.
What is it?
That little old fellow with the blue eyes. Will you let me take him back in the woods and shoot him myself?
What's the matter? Got a grudge against him?
You wouldn't understand. He would. I don't want him to see what we do to his comrades. I don't want him to get hurt.
It can't be done, Qualls. The captain said here it's got to be.
But please, Foster, you
Shut up. Get in line.
God, I can't do this. I can't do it.
Monday, if you stampede these prisoners, I'll blow your top off. Now get yourself together. Hey, you prisoners, get all the way back in there. Clear over. That's it. Now close in. Keep together. All right now, fellas. When I give you the signal, let go quick. Spread your fire. Spray them from side to side. Ready now. Let them have it. Fire.
They won't go down. They keep getting on. How long are you going to take to kill them?
Pick up the rifle, Qualls. What are you staring at?
Smith!
Side to side. Come on there.
I'm Dick Mundy. I've always been considered a pretty hard-boiled guy, and I guess I was. I never saw men die just like that before, and it did something to me. I never thought it'd take so long before they stopped kicking. I was in a tough spot. Bill Nugent was screaming on one side of me. On the other side was big old Everett Qualls. After the first burst of rifle fire, the gun dropped out of Quall's hand. He stood there, staring, wild-eyed, at that little blue-eyed cabinet maker. He had shot that little guy right off, but he didn't go down. Everett Quall seemed like he was ready to go berserk. Then the little guy looked straight at Everett, turned his head away, dropped on his face, tried to get up a few times, finally flattened out and was still. Corporal Foster marched us back toward our trench. We stopped in the woods to eat grub.
Pass that monkey meat along to Monday, Bill.
Here you are, Dick. I don't want any.
What's the matter?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Oh, come on, you guys. Snap out of it. You act like they were your own brothers.
You were. More so than you.
Hey!
There were men like us. Farmers, painters, bricklayers, cabinet makers. And we slaughtered them.
Oh, God!
Oh, forget it, Dick. It wasn't your fault. Come on, get up off the ground, Dick. Have a swig of this.
Hey! What happened to an Abinet? Where'd he go?
He dropped behind a little way back.
Nugent, you go back and see what happened to him.
Okay, Cop. I retraced my steps back through the wood, looking for an avenue. I was thinking of the 22 prisoners in the trenches. Prisoners they were just a few minutes before. They were free now. What of the 9 of us? I knew we'd never know freedom again. We were 9 prisoners ourselves now. Men whose hearts and minds would be forever locked in our own conscience. Things such as we had done could never be forgotten. And the ghosts of the 22 will walk with us forever. Before I realized where I was, I stood on the edge of the ravine. There they lay, where we had left them, twisted into grotesque knots, like angleworms in a can. Then I became aware of something moving among them. Looked more closely, and there was Roger and Abinet going through their pockets. I shouted to him.
Hey! An Abinet! Oh, hello, Bill. What are you doing here?
Suppose you tell me what you're doing here.
Oh, just looking for some iron crosses, that's all.
Put that stuff back.
Now, Bill, don't be like that. They ain't no good to them squareheads anymore. We might as well have them. Split them with you.
What have you got in that other hand?
Huh? Oh, those are just some regimental rings and stuff. Nothing of any value.
Why, you dirty louse robbing the dead. Well, I'm going to leave you here for somebody else to rob your carcass.
Bill, for God's sake, don't. Bill, that's murder, don't you realize?
Well, why, sure, it's murder. Oh, that's my trade, ain't it? That's what they trained me for. Well, I'm going to do well by my teachers.
Bill, for God's sake, no! Murder! Murder! Murder!
My name is James Wade. I was the youngest in Corporal Foster's squad when we went into the ravine. But I was the oldest man in the world coming back. My father was a clergyman, and I was going to be a clergyman just like him. But I knew I could never preach to men about justice, love, and mercy. Those things had vanished from the earth. They were no more. If indeed they ever existed as more than words. Perhaps it wouldn't have shaken my faith so if Captain Matlock hadn't lined us up next day and marched us all to chapel. I could never trust men again. I've been back to that ravine once since that day. The pits and scars have all gone from the land. Abandoned trenches and shell holes are now a solid mass of gently sloping vines that ripple all day in the wind. You can tell the places where the men died. The grass is more green. Poppies grow more red and the cornflowers more blue. Perhaps that's because the soil is fertilized by the blood and bodies of those who fell. More likely, it's because God is so sickened with the things men do to each other that he covers the places where they've been as quickly and completely as possible. They say that war makes beasts of men. But I say that beasts of men make war.
You have been listening to the Columbia Workshop's production of 9 Prisoners, the celebrated American short story by William March, adapted for radio by Brian J. Byrne. Special music was composed by Bernard Herrmann, and the production was under the direction of Earl McGill. Next Monday night at this same time, the Columbia Workshop will present an original play for radio entitled Jury Trial by James and Elizabeth Hart. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. There are a couple things that should be noted. First of all, the incident that is described in March's story is not something that has been verified. Most of the better-known atrocities during World War I were committed by the Germans and Russians. But at the end of the war, there just was not the interest or desire to create a war crimes tribunal. We don't know just what happened. We do know that March was a decorated Marine in the First World War who had severe psychological trauma as the result of his experiences there. But whether this was an actual true story, this happened, we simply don't have any information on that. All right, well, tomorrow we wrap up this series, and we'll have a play by Arch Oboler and an appearance by one of history's great giants. Be sure and join us tomorrow as the war continues. Well, today we conclude our series on the Reluctant Warriors with a play written by one of radio's truly great writers, Arch Oboler. Oboler was best known for his chilling horror stories on Lights Out, but he also wrote some great dramatic pieces. He didn't have quite the lyrical sense of a Norman Corwin, but he was chosen by NBC to act as somewhat of a counter to Corwin's on CBS and the Columbia Workshop. One difference you may notice in this play is, in addition to the anti-war themes, Oboler was an opponent of Nazi Germany and fascism. These rarely made it into plays or writing explicitly. In fact, NBC and most other networks had an official neutrality policy towards Nazi Germany. So we'll see what a difference that makes in the play. So here now, from April the 15th, 1939, 4.5 months before the start of the war, is an episode of Arch Oboler's play, The Ways of Men, Past, Present, and Future.
Arch Oboler's plays. On the winds of the night, we bring you a story whispered in the night. 3 short plays of the ways of men, past, present, and future. First, the past. The time, one of our yesterdays. The place, the main square of the village. It had once been a tree-circled gathering point for the women and old men to sun themselves. On its clean pavements, the children had played. But now the trees stand charred and broken. Blocks of jagged masonry lie piled in empty disorder. There is no village, only hovels clustering on the edge of great shell-blasted craters. One thing alone rises complete, shining new in the early morning sun, a crudely fashioned statue of a man. And before this statue stand a small boy and a bent old man. The boy speaks.
But were there so many people before the trouble, Grandfather?
People? Yes, yes. Hundreds and hundreds of people. The square here would be filled with them of a sunny day. The old ones sitting, the young ones strolling, the children playing. Hundreds, I tell you. Hundreds.
And were there many boys like me in the village then?
Aye, that there were. Playing their games, marching around and around to the music of the band.
Band?
Aye, band. Before the trouble. The band that played and told our men they had to fight.
Fight whom, Grandfather?
Our enemies, of course. Kill or be killed, the poster said. March on the enemy for the glory of the eternal state. Oh, yes, that's what the posters said all over the town. It's as if I hear them now. The band playing here in the square. The women talking war talk. The men seizing their guns. Aye, guns. All but one. Jan Pero. And him they hated. Hated.
Orderly! Orderly! Yes, Commandant. That confounded band. Shut the window. Yes, Commandant. Now then, young men, we will settle your case.
I am waiting, Your Excellency.
Speak only when I tell you to.
As you say, Your Excellency.
Your name?
Jan Pero.
Occupation?
I am a farmer. My land is just beyond the furthest hill.
Family?
Wife and child.
According to this report, you have refused to join the armies of the state. Is that true?
I have never denied it.
Then what they say is true. You are afraid to die.
Give me a reason to die.
Reason? Are you such a fool that you have not understood what even the children in the streets are saying? That even now our enemies prepare to crush us?
That is what they say.
Enemies! They must strike them down. They must attack for the glory of our homes and wives and children.
It's such an old tune. My father and his father before him danced out his life to it.
But our enemies prepare. They hate us. Men, women, and children.
But why do our enemies hate us?
Because...
I'll tell you. Because of that great victory won in my father's time. And in that victory were sown the seeds of this new war you ask me to die in. Oh, don't you understand?
Silence! Orderly! Where, Commandant? The Burgermeister. Send him in.
One, Commandant. Your Excellency, I know I am only a farmer.
No,
but
I won't listen to you, Jan Pero. I know your sort. Talk, until a man's head spins in the middle like a top.
Burgermeister, Your Excellency.
Come in, Burgermeister. Come in.
Yes, Your Excellency. Whatever I can do for you.
You can do nothing for me. Here is your Jan Pero. See that he listens to reason. I give you 2 minutes.
Well, Jan.
Burgermeister,
you won't disgrace us, Jan.
Why won't you listen to me? If we fight, there will be no victory.
Oh, we'll win a glorious victory.
I say win or lose, there will be no victory. The hatred fighting breeds does not die with a victory. It lives on in the hearts of the defeated.
Protect your home and loved ones, Jan.
But we have not been attacked. No, Burgermeister. Protect my son and my son's sons from dying. That's what I'll do. I will not fight. I will not fight. I will not fight.
Jan. Jan.
Do not weep, little wife.
But I heard.
What you heard were only words the commandant squealed to frighten me. I spoke only the truth, my wife. He knows I did.
Jan, do what they say.
You want me to go to war? Because you cannot stand people's empty words?
Everyone is going, Jan. You must too.
Anna, my silly little one. You don't know what you're saying.
Do what they say, Jan. Do it.
No.
You are afraid. You are.
Anna.
Afraid to fight. To protect your home, your wife, your child. Afraid.
Yes. Yes. I am afraid.
Afraid.
But not afraid of what you think, my wife. Not afraid of the quick death of a smashing bullet in my head. No. No, not afraid of the slow death, squirming in the mud of a stinking trench, with my blood pouring from me like a burning fire. I tell you, I am not afraid to die in battle, my wife. I am afraid that I might not die.
What?
I'm afraid that I'd live through this war and come back and see the years go by and watch the next war brewing. Watch my son fed with the lies they're trying to feed me. Watch the new hates growing in those other lands. The hates my rifle had helped shoot into their hearts and minds. That's what I'm afraid of, my wife. That's why I will never fight. That's why I'll never...
Jan, they're coming for you.
For me?
Oh, no.
Young fellow.
What?
By order of the Emergency Military Tribunal, you are to be executed on the charge of high treason. That execution to take place at once.
Commandant.
Well, young fellow, will you fight for peace and glory?
You mean to shoot me?
In 3 minutes by the clock.
The wall behind me. Wall of my church.
Blindfold the prisoner.
No, wait. I want to see them. The crowd there. Look, they were my friends. You there, Eric. I see you. Why do you call me names? We were in school together. You were my friend. Please understand me. You there, Hans. Remember the long talks we had together of beauty and a brave new life? You, Hans, tell them what I mean when I say that word. No, they will not listen. You see, Commandant. Look at them. My friends. Even the thought of war. And already they are not men of the soil, men of the shops, but things of hate. And that hate will not stop when the terms of peace are signed. It cannot stop.
Your lamps! Forward, ready!
Hey, no! Another moment. Brothers of my village, listen to me. Before those bullets tear me open, listen to me. I have lived with you, worked with you, all the years of my life. And if my life is ending now, here among you, that is good. Better my blood soak into this, my native soil, than in another land. My blood that flows here, ends here. But yours will flow like a great river of hate, joining the hate of our fathers and our enemies, until it is a great sea washing over all the world, blotting it out like a flood. Do not give your blood to that sea of hate, my countrymen. Do not fight, and there will be no war. Fight, and there will be no peace. For in the peace you dictate will be our children's war. And when that new war comes, it will rain from the sky, a great green choking cloud,
It will blot out the village. All men will grovel in burrows beneath the ground, with their women like hunted things. The great cities of men will crash. Wolves will howl among the broken things we call our glory. Violence breeds violence, my brothers. There can be no peace, no war. There can be no peace, no war. There can...
And so he died, young Pharaoh, many years ago. Died against a church wall that was dust long before the day of trouble. The day when all that he said came true, and the world went up in flames of hate.
But the statue, Grandfather.
This statue? Oh, yes. Frederick the Blind and I, we were the only men left in all the village. We made it with our own hands. Look close and read the words, my son. Read.
It says, to the memory of young Pharaoh, the bravest man in all the village.
And now the second in our short plays of the ways of men. A story of the present. The scene aboard the U.S. destroyer Liberty, somewhere in the Mediterranean. It is dusk. The usual disciplined calm of the battleship has been broken for the past half hour by a minor tragedy of the sea. In the heavy fog, a small fishing skiff had been cut down by the lunging prow of the destroyer. At the moment, the senior officer is making his report to the commandant.
No doubt, sir, from the testimony of the men on deck, that not only was the skiff operating without a foghorn, but she didn't have a light on it either, fore nor aft.
That's all very well, Lieutenant. But what I want to know is, how about the boy?
Oh, he's all right, sir. Not a thing wrong with him. Raising the devil good and proper, that he is, sir.
Eh? What do you mean?
Well, sir, it's a boat he wants.
A boat?
Aye, sir, a boat. The minute he hit the deck, he began yelling for a boat in place of the one we ran down.
Put him below deck until morning.
Oh, but that won't help, sir. It's the baby that's got us worried.
Baby?
Aye, sir, baby, sir. The one the lad brought with him. 10 or 12 months old is how I rate it.
Lieutenant, perhaps you're not aware that I saw the boy brought over the side. He was alone.
Aye, sir, alone, but all the time he had this kid. I mean, this baby, wrapped up snug under his coat. Didn't know it was there, we didn't. Until all at once he takes it out and starts dressing it in the dry stuff we gave him.
Well, I'll be...
Aye, sir.
Whose baby is it? Who's the boy? What was he doing out here in the fog in a small boat without running lights?
Well, that's just it, sir. He won't tell us.
Eh?
Just keeps yelling for a boat right away, quick. Kid under one arm and waving his fist, yelling to see the captain. It's one hell of a mess, sir. There, sir. Do you hear him?
Send him in.
Aye, sir. You boy. The commander will see you. In here. In here. This is him, sir. I mean, them, sir.
Very good, Lieutenant.
Aye, sir.
Come closer, boy. Boy, can't you do something about that child?
You are the captain, senor?
I'm Commander Roberts. Now that baby, can't you do something about him? Huh?
Quiet, little fella. This is the captain. He will help us. Quiet, little sister.
Well, she certainly listens to you.
As you will listen to me, captain. A boat. You will give me a boat. I must have a boat quickly. Do not stand there.
All right, boy. It's about enough of that. You will be taken care of.
You mean that, senor?
Certainly.
Then you will give me a boat now?
Boy, try and understand. This is a government ship. I am sure proper compensation will be made for your loss.
The words, senor. All of them I do not understand. This I know. A boat. Give me a boat, senor. There is no time. We must go.
Stop that. Didn't you hear me? I said you'd be taken care of, you and your sister. We'll get you back where you belong. Is that clear?
A hole in the ground.
Eh?
hole in the ground is good enough for me, senor. But my sister, I do not think even you would want that for her.
What are you talking about?
You said you will take us back where we came from.
Well?
The bombs made great holes, senor.
Where are you from?
Aguila.
Oh.
My sister asks you to. You will give us another boat, senor?
Your family?
I told you, senor, I told you. Hole in the ground.
I'm sorry. Aguila. It's 200 miles from the sea. Battle area. Boy, how did you manage to... You don't mind answering a few questions, do you?
Questions? Questions, senor? You ask me? No. I have questions I have wanted to ask for many days. You have gray hair. You are old. They always tell me the old are wise. So now you tell me, senor.
What?
Senor, why did they die?
Oh. Well, it's a war, boy. Difference of ideas. Someday you'll understand.
Understand, senor? What is there to understand? They understood to milk the cow. Jimenez understood how to make baskets to sell in the marketplace. Teresa, she understand how to beat the clothes white on the stones of the river. Juana, how to take care of her 5 children. But war, senor. It was so good in our village. The sun so bright, the air so clear. What had we to do with war? Make me understand, senor. Why are they all dead?
Well, Civil War, as I said, difference of ideas. How can I explain?
My papa tells me many things. He talked to me of a world where men think free and talk free, where everyone has his own land, not too much, and men are like brothers. Is this why my papa is dead, senor? Is this why bombs drop from the sky?
Boy, listen to me.
No, senor. You do not know. You are not wise. No one who is old is wise. I must go. Hey, boat, senor, give me my boat.
Boy.
Listen to us, senor. Our village was full of such laughter. Where is it now? Only Maruja and me. But her I take away to some place where there is nobody old and wise to drop bombs on her.
So that's where you were sailing.
See. We came so far until I found the boat. Then the sea. We were so happy. All at once your ship, so fast, I could not get us out of the way. She is so little, senor. So pretty. When she is afraid, she never cry. Just look at me like she say, brother, you take good care of me. And I will take it. I will. Give me a boat, senor. Give me a boat.
All right, boy. It'll be all right.
Senor?
This is your boat.
Mine?
I'll take you to a place where God willing, you and your sister will be safe.
You know such a place, senor?
Yes. We're not so old there. We haven't forgotten that liberty is not a gift, but a victory.
Look, senor. She has gone to sleep, my sister. It was because now she knows I can take care of her.
Take her outside, boy. The lieutenant will give you a place to sleep.
Gracias, senor. You are good. I thought there was no one left who was good. Gracias, senor.
Sleep well, boy.
Radio.
Make the following addition to message sent to flagship. Quote, in Reese skiff run down in fog. There were 2 survivors, a boy and a baby. We are proceeding on course. We are taking children home.
And now the third play. The time, 20,000 years from tomorrow.
Excuse me, please. I know it isn't polite. I can't help it. It's the funniest thing. Wait until you hear it. Absolutely the funniest thing. Yes, I'll tell you. A hoax. He tried to play a hoax on me, telling me it was an authentic record of their times and expecting me. Me to believe. No. Wait a moment. I'll start from the beginning. Really, I will. And then you'll laugh with me. I know you will. Well, it started like this. An old man comes to my study a little while ago, a package under his arm, and he tells me he's a student of the past. Past master of the humbug, that's what he meant. Wait until you hear it. So he has this package under his arm, and he says to me breathlessly,
"Kind sir, I've brought you the most wonderful relic of the past the modern world has ever known."
"Really?" I said. "What are you talking about, and who are you?" He answers,
"A lonely traveler, one who wanders in far-off places."
Far-off places. And that's what he told me. And so I said, "And is this that you are bringing me from one of these far-off places?" He nods his head like a strutting rooster. He says,
"Yes, indeed. You are the greatest living scholar of the history of the old world. So it is fitting that I bring this to you."
"Indeed," I said. "And what have you got, and where did you find it?" He says,
"I was walking through the mountains beneath which the great city once stood."
"Well," I said, "well," he said,
"As you know, thousands of years ago, there was another civilization that reached great heights."
"Yes, I know, I said. "Certainly you're not going to teach me history, my ancient friend." He said,
"Oh, no, indeed. I only meant to say what I found high in the mountain. It is a written record of that civilization, the first written record ever to be found."
For a moment, I couldn't breathe. I just looked at him. I said, "Have you gone out of your head with age, old man?" I just looked at him. I said, "Have you gone out of your head with age, old man? Nothing is left of that prehistoric time. First the sea covered them and the dark planet swung close, and then the molten rock thrust up. It is only our theory that men had a civilization here before us." For answer, he tore the paper off the package. He said,
"Look, these papers. Reality, I tell you. High in the mountains inside a piece of alabaster that must have protected it from the ravages of time. Miraculously spewed up from the earth when the mountains rose up through the land. Look, sir, and read. A record of their times. A record of the ways of men 20,000 years before our civilization came into being."
Yes, he said that. And I took the book, took it in my hand, and read. For a moment, I almost believed the fraud. Strange formations of letters and strange words and meanings, but clear enough to me. Clear enough. The cleverest fraud a faker ever tried to perpetrate. Now, wait. Let me tell you what was in that historical book. He tried to tell me that he'd found the old humbug. Listen to this. First, the book said... Wait until you hear this. First, the book said that the men of that past civilization fought about the land. You don't understand what I mean? I mean the world. They fought each other, maimed each other, bled each other over who owned what pieces of the world. Did you ever hear such nonsense? They knew how large the world was, and they knew how many men were in it. But instead of dividing it up fairly, or all owning together as one, they fought each other. Yes, bloody wars for years and years. Did you ever hear such humbug history? And that isn't all. The book said that they fought each other over race. Yes, race. The book says the word means the difference between men. And then the book said that all men had the same origin. And yet... they killed each other over a difference they admitted didn't even exist. Oh, what a fraud, that book.
And a man walked that world for a little while who said, "For the glory of God, peace on earth." And he spoke truth. And men listened and said, "We believe." And then went out to murder with bright music playing. Music, I tell you. And then a little man arose who said, "For the glory of the state, war on earth." And he spoke lies. And men knew they were lies, and he knew they knew. But again they went out to murder with the music playing. And here's the funniest. Other men saw what was happening. And they said, "Let them kill. It is not to our interest." And the flame of murder came closer. And still they said, "It is not our interest." As if the house were afire, and they said, "We will not use water until we ourselves are burning." And here's the climax. The preposterous book said that these crazy people who filled the earth in those days had machines. Machines with which to fly through the air. Yes, really, through the air. But imagine the wonder if it were true. Speeding through the air like the birds' great glistening machines to carry men to new wonders. Guess what the front of the book said they did with them? You'll hold your sides when you hear this. They loaded them up with horrible tearing things and flew up over the crowded places and dropped them. Yes, believe me. The humbug history tried to make me believe that was the truth. They struggled for centuries. Men studied, toiled, rivers of heartache, said the book, trying to make a healthier world for their children to live in. And then they threw poisoned clouds down from the sky and killed them off in tens of thousands. Killed the children. Isn't it all a joke?
These three plays of the ways of men were written especially for radio by Arch Oboler. The first play, Memoriam, featured Bill Johnstone. The second play, Soul Survivors, Jack Kelk and Ray Collins. And the last play, Humbug, featured Raymond Edward Johnson. Next week, we bring you Mr. Important, a sentimental fantasy with Mr. Martin Gable. Arch Oboler's plays. On the winds of the night, we bring you a story whispered in the night. Arch Oboler's plays are presentations of the National Broadcasting Company, RCA Building, Radio City, New York.
Welcome back. The one thing, to be honest, as I listened to the play that I really did not get was the future historian being the one to do the laughing. That seemed unrealistic, because people who study history are generally used to societies being different from them. But I think Oboler got home his point regarding war and how it would look to more enlightened people of the future. And of course, there was a very light reference to apathy towards what was going on in Germany. So we've listened to, I think, some fairly representative samples of a lot of the plays and stories in the West that dominated the pre-war era. It's safe to say that no one was in the West was really anxious for war. Even among people who were aware of the threat of Hitler, were solidly against war. And there were far more people who would rather shut their eyes to the threat of Hitler. And this was true on both sides of the Atlantic throughout the 1930s. In the United States, comedian Eddie Cantor spoke out against Nazi Germany and had to fight to stay on the air as sponsors, desperate to avoid being associated with controversy, tried to back out of their contract to Cantor. In the UK, Winston Churchill spent most of the 1930s as a bit of a pariah and an outcast, relegated to a lesser role as he warned about the dangers of the rise of Nazi Germany. As I've listened to some of these programs, particularly today's Arch Oboler's play, it occurred to me that the audience that needed to hear the play was the one not listening to the play. For example, in the first scene of today's play, in the past, clearly the character and setting is German or Austrian and meant to address the citizens served under the Third Reich, who obviously were not listening to this program. And what Churchill said about these sort of materials being banned was absolutely true. Under Hitler, Germany banned All Quiet on the Western Front, as well as other anti-war books, and also Italy. You could not legally get a copy of Farewell to Arms until the fall of the fascist government in that country. After the events of the First World War, those who lived through it and experienced it had little interest in sending their sons off to war to be cannon fodder in a total war with machine guns and barbed wire and war from the air. The great advantage of Nazi Germany in the early goings. And what Hitler had to depend on was that reluctance and the fact that he did not share it. And that really leaves us, I guess, with a quandary that exists to this day. Free and sane people will seek to avoid war. But what do you do with the fanatics? How do you deal with people who are willing and have no compunction about sending people off to be slaughtered in order to achieve whatever cause they're going for? That is a question that haunts us to this day. In the 1930s, Hitler used this to great advantage. The free nations of Western Europe didn't engage him until they had no other choice. And for the U.S., it took a bit longer. We'll take a look, starting next week, at those who educated America about what was going on in Europe, and those who took their own, sometimes tentative strikes at the Nazi government before the U.S. officially entered the war. I hope you'll be back with us next week for this program. On a personal note, I have to say that these first week of programs have been difficult to listen to, difficult to host, often very emotional and challenging. A few I've had to bite my tongue on longer comments on, but I hope you'll continue to listen. It's not always going to be this heavy. There was a lot of great music and comedy and a lot of inspiring heroism in the course of the war. I think it was important to do this week of programs just so we understood where our grandparents and great-grandparents were coming from when this whole thing got started. I thank everyone so much for listening. I'll see you back here on Monday. If you would like to share your experience or that of a loved one during World War II, please email your stories to box13@greatdetectives.net. We'll consider all stories to be shared on the air. We also welcome your suggestion as to future programs. This program is dedicated to those who fought and died in World War II and is presented as a service of the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio, greatdetectives.net. The opening theme is The Heroic by Ken Curlin, KenCurlin.com.